On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick, who some describe as nothing more than Disney Star Wars shills because they can say positive things about Star Wars in 2024, will be back saying probably positive things about Disney Star Wars as they break down Episode 3 of The Acolyte. Who do they think is really pulling the strings? What did they learn about the Jedi this week? And are any of their early speculations about the plot and its characters paying off yet? All that and more in this week's SWTS. And of course, the show will end with the Question of the Week segment and the latest round of Top Hot Star Wars fan annotations. Punch it, Chewie.
Hey, now everybody. Tried to calm it down this week after that rocket-fueled intro last week. Hold on there, live streamers. I know your eyes are probably hurting. I told Nick I would do it before we went live, but I got lost in conversation. There you go. The bald head has been covered up. But hey now, welcome back to the Star Wars Time Show. A safe space for fans that may like The Acolyte. Hey, how about that? There is a safe space on the internet for liking Star Wars these days, my friends, and it's right here. SWTS, Wednesday night, 5 p. East, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show, podcast version dropping the day after. Get some. There's always time for Star Wars time, especially if you aren't a whiny little bitch. All right, my friends, so we are here and we are ready to talk all things The Acolyte, but of course we've got a few things to wade through, some pop culture stuff to iron out. We've got to Ask Us Anything to get through, and then we'll start breaking down The Acolyte S1E3 Destiny, an episode that tricked Nick and I a little bit in our speculations last week. We did hit on the fact that we might get some of the past. We just did not know we'd get 44 minutes of past. And the best part is we only got through one person's point of view. So if your eyes are open, you got a brain that actually functions and you form your own opinions, I hope you're starting to see that a lot of Leslie's promises are paying off. We are seeing this show being delivered from alternate points of view. Every point of view thinks they're right, but us as the audience, we have no clue really who the hell is right and what actually is going on. And I kind of dig that. That whole murder mystery thing is working for me. But more on that when we get to our Acolyte segment, Nick. So
Indeed.
We'll talk about some things that happen real briefly, but it's a good show. Production questionable in my eyes. Young Nick disagrees. That's fine. But the important thing to me, as I've always said on this dumb little Star Wars Time Show, and you know I've said it, Nick, it could be little turds acting things out. It could be stick figures. If there is good narrative content in a Star Wars property, I'm down. It doesn't matter. I could care less who's the actor, how bad the acting is, how bad the writing is, the scripts, the directing. If the story's there, I'm in, and that's kind of how The Acolyte is feeling for me. And I'm cheating here. Nick, real quick, real brief, how'd you feel? And then we'll get to the Ask Us Anything.
No, I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the show so much that I went down to I always watch Star Wars shows by myself. I typically know that Taylor's not going to enjoy Star Wars shows, and I think I got 15 minutes into this one, and then I paused it and I went downstairs and I was like, I really think that you would like this show, so maybe we should after I finish this most recent episode, maybe tomorrow or something like that, we can watch the first episode together and see if you're into it.
All right.
Yeah, because I'm really enjoying it. It's very.
So, do you
different.
think you're going to have a wing watcher now, Nick? Is she committed to the premiere or not yet?
Oh, I mean, she's not going to watch any other show. She'll watch this one. Or
no, that's what I mean. For the rest of the season, now, are you going to have an Acolyte partner?
Maybe. I mean, who knows? If she doesn't like it, then no. If she does, then perhaps. Then perhaps so.
Excellent.
But yeah, I mean, I am really enjoying the show. I love the direction. I really like how it's different than every other Star Wars show in an interesting way. Like every
It's breaking canon, dude.
sure. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoy how it's pissing off people. I really enjoy how it's like galvanizing fan bases into like, hey, we like this and stuff like that. You know, it's a show that is hitting a lot of nerves with people, good and bad. And all that tells me is that there's a lot of people watching it. And that's true because
That's a good point.
the opening
4.8, right?
show was the highest of any Disney Plus show this year. So
4.8 mil, Nick, was the number.
So I mean, like if you compare that to like, you know, when Disney first started launching Star Wars shows, like with The Mandalorian and stuff, it's not to those levels, nor will it ever be. Like we're never gonna get back to the levels that like season 1 and 2 of Mandalorian was, just because the fan base has fractured. But I really thought that it was a good, like the first 3 episodes have been really strong, and I enjoy it.
All right, excellent. More on that coming up in our full The Acolyte episode 3 breakdown. Don't worry, just wanted to give you a tease because my hot air blowing ass is always like, this is what I think. I'm the man. Narcissism rules, and I forget Nick's over there too. So got to share the mic every once in a while. You know what I mean, people? All right, as we like to do, we like to share the show with our fans. So let's just dive right into our Ask Us Anything segment this week, Nick. We didn't have many, but they're decent ones. We got from a new fan here. This is Jay Williamson 94, and just let me preface this: it doesn't let them write a lot, so there's a second part to this, Nick. So Jay Williamson 94 is asking or saying, confused with the pacing of the show. I know the misdirects are intentional, but the way it's presented adds unnecessary confusion. I guess I'll lead with this because I think I feel this more than you do. I don't know if it's necessarily pacing, Jay Will, but there is something that I cannot put my finger on that is just off about this show's production. Not the content, not the characters, not the story, the production. I'm telling you, there are times where I'm just like, wow. I mean, this is like some piss poor, it's either piss poor writing, piss poor directing, or piss poor acting, or a combination of all three. I'll specifically talk about some gripes when we get to our breakdown. One makes me feel like a complete asshole, but if you're a critic, you got to be critical regardless of what you're critiquing. So we will get there, but I do kind of get this feel that Jay Williamson's going with. That there's something off, man. I just cannot put my finger on it. It's not one exact thing, but all 3 episodes so far, there have been moments where either a scene feels like it's dragging, a performer feels like they haven't been directed well, or they're just not good at their job, something like that. I don't know. I know you're kind of like, it's nothing that really has kind of perverted your viewing, right?
I literally don't even know what you're talking about. Okay. So no, I don't feel the same way.
All right. Amen. I definitely, I feel the prequel channeling in all aspects of the show, and that includes the directing and acting. All right. Next question here, coming from Tones. So Tones, we're just giving you a question this week. You had a great question of the week response, but Nick's already yelled at me for selecting too many, so I had to cut a few people, a few of the fandos. But Tones is asking, Nick, if they were ever to make a Vader show, who would you love as the main antagonist?
I mean, I think in a show like that, I wouldn't want a main antagonist. Like, I don't want it to be like he's chasing this bad guy or like this good guy who's bad to him, because I'd think that would do a disservice to Vader as a character. I think a show about Vader is an exploration of Vader when they are, you know, when he's going through his transition from Anakin to Vader. I think the best Vader show would be an early Vader show that happens right after episode 3 and really explores him as, like, explores Vader as a person and really goes through, like, you go through what he's going through, so you understand that character way more. And I would put, like, yeah, he's going to have to chase Jedi, or he's going to have to deal with the Inquisitorius and stuff like that. But I don't think that a show like that needs a main antagonist. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi is not going to be his main antagonist. And I think that, like, if you were to just make a show where it's like, here's Vader and he's chasing down Kenobi or chasing down leads on Kenobi in every episode, it just wouldn't be interesting, because you would just be like, you wouldn't have the time for the character exploration. And I think that's what makes that show, the potential of a Vader show, good, is that the antagonist and the protagonist is Vader, because he's fighting with himself constantly. Like, he's still fighting off.
There you go. So the antagonist is Vader himself.
Yeah, like it's like him coming to grips with the fact that, like, he's no longer Anakin Skywalker, even though he still has these feelings, these memories, everything that is Anakin Skywalker is in him, but he now has to transition beyond that. Like, he has to become Darth Vader fully. And I think that the character exploration of that is way more interesting than, like, I got to find out if Obi-Wan Kenobi's still alive.
Yeah, see, I'm with B-Mad here. I think there's only one, kind of like Nick is saying, there's only one antagonist for Vader, and that's Palpatine. And it's been done in the comics, and they are good stories, even though I believe both the Vader run and the main Star Wars run have veered way off track lately. Like, the stories are just hot garbage. But watching him and Palpatine interact and always trying to outdo the other or fuck the other up is enjoyable. It just shows you how miserable they are, how awful Palpatine is, and how big of a bitch Vader is for eating it all, because he had to. He really could not beat Palpatine on his own. It was impossible. He tried many times, could not do it. Every time the Mr. Sheev always had a way to foil him. So yeah, I'm going with Palpatine would be really the only answer, in addition to what young Nick said. All right, last one here. Yord is going to be the Sith Master. The Yord Horde. Did you see the Yord Horde is official, by the way?
I did see something about
okay,
that.
Yeah, the account, I think you can sign up for a Yord Horde badge. In fact, nice. I believe Star Wars, the account put it out today, so go for it. No, I really don't. I'm telling you right now, I don't. The Sith Master, in my opinion, if you really do want to have this lead into known Star Wars, has to be Tenebrous or Plagueis. Now, the Sith Apprentice, I still believe, is Khmer, Tooth Guy, and the Acolyte obviously is May. It's pretty clear at this point in time. I know BC Scrub's just playing around, but yeah, Yord is exactly who he's been presented as, kind of a lovable douche who wants to be the coolest, toughest guy in the room, but everyone knows he's not, but they let him pretend he is.
Yeah, I like, that was pretty well presented in the first episode too, or the second episode with Jecki, when they're giving the plans. Like, even Jecki is like, look, here, like, are you dumb? Like, just use the twin. Like, he is presented as, like, kind of this buffoonish style of Jedi that is supposed to make you look at him and say, like, man, the hubris, like, this is the embodiment of Jedi hubris, is Yord. Is he going to be the Sith Master? No. But I do enjoy how they're using the character. I enjoy how they're using him to be like, look, this is the problem with Jedi. Here are some of the problems with Jedi: the arrogance, the overconfidence, and everything like that. So I've really enjoyed how they play him.
I mean, again, they just kind of roll in. They're like, hey, it's our right to want to test potential Padawans. But then I didn't get, they're like, well, you need to give us permission. It's like, what is it, Jedi? Are you just coming in and saying it, or do you need permission? What were you doing there in the first place, you sneaky sons of bitches?
They already said, like, Brendock wasn't a part of the Republic. They had no right to be there. So
Anna says, like, oh yeah, the all-knowing Jedi had no clue that this planet was inhabited. Yeah. It was like, come on, you assholes. What were you really doing there besides trying to steal those little girls?
I mean, like, it's so obvious. It's like, they're not a Republic system. You show up and you say, like, oh, we just stumbled upon it because it's uninhabited.
Oh yeah,
and then you're spying on them because, you know, they essentially admitted to spying on them.
Dude, they knew everything. Like, we're going to get more in the other point of view flashback.
Yeah.
Like, the Jedi weren't there just for fun. They were probably sent there to hunt down the goddamn witches in the first place.
Okay, so
go hit B-Mad. Thank you, brother. Go ahead. B-Mad's asking who,
coming in. Yes, who's the favorite character?
in Acolyte. He's going with Kalnaka.
I mean, we haven't really seen any of Kalnaka yet. I think that my favorite character, I mean, like, the thing is right now is that we haven't, like, we're still working through character development and stuff like that. Like, we're 3 episodes in, and one of the episodes has been a full flashback. Like, it was a full flashback. So there's still character development happening. There's still a lot of things that we're learning about these characters. Up to this point so far, I think that Yord has been funny to follow along with when he's been a part of the show. And then I also think that Soul is a very interesting character that I'm really like hungry for more information on. I think that those 2 characters are super interesting to me. Right. Yord and Soul. Yeah.
B-Mad, I'm going Kamir, because I'm telling you that the guy, he was slick in his debut. There's way more than meets the eye of this character, and depending on how deep you read the tea leaves and the shit you look at, my theory is going to be correct. So I dig him. I like how he's operating. I can't wait to learn more about him, to see if possibly he had a hand in the Brendok fire as well. I really don't think the Jedi are solely responsible for what happened, but they definitely had a hand in it. All right, good question. Good ask us anything stuff there. Oh, sorry. One last one here from Ripik Tan.
Amazing how hateful people are in our fandom. So much suffering from insecure trash fuckers.
Oh, there we go.
I mean, that's how it is.
I guess that's a statement. Yeah, I mean, if you follow us, you know what happened to us over the past week. I don't know if it's people like KTM in here. They don't seem too nuts yet, even though they don't like the show. But yeah, we got a legitimate death threat for covering the Acolyte in it wasn't even like I love it. It was just like, hey, look at this. It's kind of neat. The Jedi had shields like a droideka, and it's like, no, you're a fucking idiot. I hope you die or go kill you, something like that. We've been asked to delete our accounts. We've been asked to go fuck ourselves. And all I'll say is I'm a grown man. So like this stuff, it's nothing. I've been doing stuff online for 14 years. I mean, it started online gaming when it first started, when it was nothing but a cesspool of humanity. So getting shit talked online, no big deal. But when I see the type of vitriol some of you motherfuckers come at people over a fake ass science fiction fantasy show, I do worry for those that aren't mentally strong, because you people are insane. Like, you're insane.
Yeah.
This is a fictional property that has no real impact on who you are as a person or your overall happiness as a human. Those of you that get this upset over Star Wars and perceived slights to your take on it, you gotta like really look in the mirror and go, I need to get help. Like, I really need to get help. Because the reason you all lash out at people online is because you don't love yourself. You're not happy with yourself. You know that's your only way you're going to get attention, because you're not getting it in your personal life.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I'll leave it at that.
Here's the thing. And to answer Trevor, who's upset about the show 3 episodes in because he doesn't know more about a secondary character, don't watch the show until it's all out. Like, if you want all of the answers quickly, wait till it's all out, then watch it.
Do people remember when a series like Lost came out, Nick, that was super mysterious, and you'd have to wait fucking 5 months to figure out what happened at the end?
Yeah, that's the whole hook of the show, is that it's a mystery and a slow burn. That's what we've seen so far. You're not going to get answers about every character. You're not going to get explorations about every character that like immediately. We're only 3 episodes in.
And listen, 1-6 shooter, he's providing valid critiques. Okay, we're not saying he's one of the nuts.
Yeah,
by any
so
means.
just like if you want things to happen quickly, just wait till it's over and watch it all at one time, and then that way you don't have to wait to get the answers. Also, you know, the main characters of the show, as we've seen and as it's been marketed the whole time, are May and Osha. So that's why we've gotten a majority of storytelling based around May and Osha up to this point. So it
He's
is
fighting
hard.
me over Lost now too.
Dude, I never I watched 3 episodes of Lost and I thought it was trash, so I turned it off. So I don't fucking care.
I don't like he's concerned about motivations. We're just gonna let him go. It's fine. We love you, buddy. Seriously, to each your own. Like, listen, I'm a normal person. I can be okay if you don't agree with my take on Star Wars. It is okay. I will sleep at night.
Yeah, I think that like that's what's intriguing to me about this show is that we weren't given all of the character exploration immediately on a silver platter. Like here's their motivations and everything that you need to know about them right away. It's interesting that it's being drawn out and that you're learning these things. At least for me. Like if for other people it may not be good.
We somehow I got to chat on a Lost tangent now. I love it.
Yeah.
Bango, final season of Lost is a crime against humanity. I will admit I was not a huge. They did not stick the landing, and I have all hopes that the Acolyte will. I'm going to try to drive us back to Star Wars, but
and here's one other, like if you don't like it, just don't watch it.
All right, let me address KTM. Maybe
more.
KTM. Listen, so here's what they say. So having an opinion that it's bad is not accepted, fix or not. It's just bad Star Wars. It's bad material. Accept the other side, guys. Some have opposing opinions. Calm down.
I mean, we're saying.
Did you listen to what I just said, KTM? I'm talking about the people that they're like, oh, it's just woke bullshit. You're a fucking shill. You should kill yourself. Those are the idiots I'm talking about have no right to spread their venom. What you're saying right there, that's personally fine. If you think it's awful and you hate it, that's great. Okay?
Yeah.
We're not, we don't need to calm down. We're not shitting on you. If you think it's bad material, it's bad material for you. That's fine. Yeah. That's what an opinion is.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And if you don't like it, don't watch it. Like that is
like shit.
Like
if you don't like us, don't watch us. I don't understand people that watch shit that drives them nuts.
Yeah. Like I made the decision to not play Star Wars Jedi Survivor because I didn't like the first game. Did I go around saying that the game was trash and that people who played it are dumb and you have to accept that the game's not good? I didn't, because I chose to not play it, and that was a choice that I made based off of my like for the first game. So if you don't like something, don't watch it unless you really get off on watching things that you don't like and you really enjoy being mad at people. And if that's the case, then like that's something that you have to deal with. But if you don't like the show, that's your opinion. That's totally fine. As long as you're not harassing other people about it, we don't really care whether you like it or not. Like
maybe I didn't explain it as well as young Nick KTM. You got no beef with you. You want to come in here and not like the show? That's completely fine.
What if I was
talking
Lost
about the people that literally
sent
us death threats to the point where IG had to remove it. Like that's real life. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to get butthurt over that, fine. That's cool. But no, we were talking about the trolls. I've never been against people that have negative opinions about Star Wars as long as they have a valid critique.
Yeah.
What is KTM? We're not talking about you. Okay?
He's so
you're
confused
fine.
that he
KTM,
thinks
you're
that
fine. Re-roll the footage or something. Can someone in the chat please explain to KTM what was said on the show so we can move on? Thank you.
Interacting with chat for the time being. We're going to go into our regularly scheduled program.
Let's get into some of the pop culture talk, Nick, real quick. You know, I introduced Star Wars Hunters last week. Some people laughed. Nick scoffed, in fact. I'm still playing it. I played it every day. I've played it every day since, log in every day, try to play at least 2 to 3, 4, maybe 5 matches, depending on when I get in. And I even threw them the $10. I threw them $10 yesterday. I'm like, you know what? I've been playing this for a week straight, at least an hour or two a day. That's worth $10 for this month of entertainment. So if you've not picked it up yet, I still encourage you to do so. Apparently, it's picked up enough traction, Nick, that gamers are asking Zynga to port it to the big boy consoles. Yeah, so
wow. Nice.
I guess that's a good sign.
I tried to download it on my phone, but it doesn't work on my phone because I have a foldable phone.
Are you kidding? Dude, I looked at compatible devices. It goes back to like all the way to iPhone 7.
It is not compatible with foldable devices.
No way!
So
foiled the Android, bro.
Yeah, so unfortunately for me, as an early adopter, I was not able to play it.
All right. I need
Move
to.
on.
I think I need to close the chat window because it seems we're dealing with an idiot. Because now you're going to just make me be mean. Because you can't listen. Like, open your fucking ears, dude. There's no confusion. The confusion is in your brain. You don't know how to process English coming out of someone's mouth. Thank you. And you are one of these idiots all worried about woke. So you are one of the dumb fucks now that I think about it. Thank you. Fucking retard. All right. So there's Star Wars hunters. How fucking stupid. I'm not even going to get into it. God damn, people are dumb as shit. All right. Sticking with not Star Wars, Nick. I don't even know if you care about this. I don't know your passion for the Gears of War franchise. I know it's probably not as strong as mine. But we're getting a new Gears game. Completely out of the blue. All right? And it's going to be a prequel of sorts. It's called Gears of War E-Day. It's literally picking up right when the Locusts attack Sarah. It looks like the main characters are going to be Marcus and Dom. So yes, they are reunited. If you don't know about those two, or if you've never played Gears, 1 through 5, it's a deep relationship. I mean, Dom might have made some gamers shed some tears way back in the early aughts, and I believe Gears of War 2. So this is typically when E3 would be going on, Nick. So we're getting all sorts of gaming reveals, this, that, and the other thing. This one really stood out to me. It seems like Microsoft had a pretty good show, but we're just going to focus on this one. So, what say you? Were you a Gears of War fan, or is this a game that doesn't really move you whatsoever?
I enjoyed the Gears franchise. I played through most of Gears with my friends because I didn't have my own Xbox. So I played through like Gears 1, 2, and 3 multiplayer with my friends. So I didn't get the like single player experience until much later. My first Gears game that I played by myself was Judgment. And like that one was okay. Like I enjoyed it. And then, Gears of War 5 was the most recent one, right?
Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, we're still honoring those stories, but we wanted to go back and get back to Marcus and Dom and the classics.
So I do remember, and before I go into this, I just want to call out Will of the Force.
Let's hit Will. Will, I've become a big fan of Will of the Force, by the way. You would call him a Star Wars influencer, content creator, IG, Twitter. Good dude. And I only say that because he agrees with us, Nick. Just kidding. Go ahead and read him out.
He says, the warring beliefs of Force users gives me Holy War vibes. The galaxy is bigger than what we've seen in the main 9. Call me crazy, but I'm thinking George's audience interpretation, or George audience interpretation, Lucas would dig it. I mean, I don't know what George would think about it, but yeah, I mean, I think that obviously this is the first time in this series that we've dabbled in this time period in live action Star Wars or any sort of like visual medium of Star Wars at all. It's the first time that we're exploring the High Republic, and it is the first time that we're like getting different perspectives. Typically, when you look at the original or like the 9 movie Skywalker saga, we're seeing things from the perspective of the Jedi. Like we're seeing things from the perspective of those who are fighting on the light side of the Force against the dark side. One of the things that I told my friend Phil, who was in the chat last week, was almost every period of Star Wars that we've ever seen has been in open war. Like from episode 1, like episode 1 kicked off the open war that happened between the Republic and the CIS. And then the original trilogy, there's an open war between the Rebellion and the Empire. And then in the 9 movies before, or in the sequel trilogy, there's an open war between the First Order and then
the Resistance.
Resistance. And then in the biggest animated series that we've had thus far, the Clone Wars, it's during the Clone Wars, a period of open war. And even in Rebels and in Bad Batch, it's all happening during open war. Like there is a very clear, like the motivations of Star Wars that we've seen up to this point pre-Acolyte have been very clear. It's very easy to find out what people's motivations are. It's very easy to find out what character traits there are about people, because you're thrust into a period of open war. And it is a necessity of open war for people to lay out their allegiances and choose a side very quickly, because that's what you do in open war. This is the first time. I mean, like, even in Star Wars video games, like, a lot of them have taken place during open war. So I think that this is the first time that we've really gotten to just explore the galaxy with there being no force to push them out towards something. You know, like, there's so much exploration that's happening here, and there's so much, you know, freedom of movement of the characters in no rush to develop, because there's no imminent threat that is being placed on anybody. So, yeah, I mean, I think that it was the you know, it's a different feel for a Star Wars show, and I think that's what makes people uncomfortable, is that they have seen Star Wars for 40 years, and it's always felt one way, that there is a war going on in the stars and people are fighting, and the good guys are the good guys and the bad guys are the bad guys, and it was very easy to be able to say, like, I like this guy because he's a good guy and he's got the blue lightsaber and he's fighting the bad guy and the bad guy's got the red lightsaber. This is the first time that we've ever been put in a situation where lines are blurred. Things aren't as clear as they have been in the past. And I think it makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It makes them uncomfortable to look at the Jedi and be like, why are they saying that the Jedi are bad people when nobody has said that?
Well, I mean,
yet?
I put out my full-length review. Please check it out, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. It's under 10 minutes. You know, watch it while you're taking a shit or something. But I said the same thing. Like, listen, this is a whole different perspective we're getting. We're used to the Jedi being treated like Christ-like figures. Literally Christ-like figures, Anakin Skywalker. And Nick is correct. It's always been, yeah, they're good. Look what they're doing. They're supposedly fighting bad guys. Look at Luke. He's fighting against this big bad empire. So I 100% agree with why some people's brains are frying over this, but you gotta understand, factions aren't always the same. This concept of the Force is going to be embraced differently across the galaxy. I mean, for Christ's sakes, look at us here on this stupid Earth. Someone invented this religion thing and we have 9,000 flavors of it. How's that any different than how the Force is portrayed in Star Wars right now in the Acolyte? Right?
And
we got Muslims, Christians, Jews, Hindus. They all believe in some magic thing in the sky, right? It's the same thing with the witches and the Jedi. They believe in this force, the thread. I mean, the witches are like this thread. It binds us. It ties us together. Same fucking thing. The Jedi said.
That Yoda literally said on Dagobah. So, yeah, I mean, I think that it's hard for people to have seen things portrayed one way for a long time and then to see it portrayed a different way or from a different perspective. It's hard for them to really break away from their previous feeling or separate the fact that, like, they can be one and the same. You can have the Jedi out there who believe that they're doing things for good, but you can also have people out there who look at the Jedi and say, like, hey, I don't think it's cool how you come to our planet and then take our kids away from us because they're force sensitive.
Yeah, the Jedi, they try to make it seem like they have a chance, but they don't. Like, where's the chance? I mean, they're like, oh, you got to give us permission. It's like, well, what if I say no? Are you actually going to leave? And then if they do give them permission and they actually pass the test, they're gone. Like, you have no recourse. You pass the test, the Jedi are taking your kid.
Yeah, they take you. So, like, it's understandable. Like, that to me is like, it's really cool to see it from that perspective, because when I was growing up and I learned about how Jedi got new Jedi, like they recruited Padawans, like they recruited them when they were very young and they sought them out based off of their Force abilities. But I never really thought about, like, what do the families of these kids think? You know, I grew up thinking, like, oh, they would be so happy that the
like
Jedi
it's an
are
honor
coming to get their kids. Yeah, it's like, this is amazing. But then when you think about it, when you get older, you're like, man, it's a little messed up that, like, they don't really have a choice. Like, the Jedi come to them and say, like, your kid is Force sensitive. And if they're not old enough to do a test like May and Osha were, they just take them. Like, they're just like, your kid is very powerful in the Force, and we're going to take them to be trained as a Jedi, and
you'll never see them again, and they'll essentially be dead to you.
Yeah, and like as a parent or as somebody who is raising a child, that's very difficult, and we've never even seen their perspective of it. And I think that how they're showing this is super interesting. And it's a perspective on the galaxy that we've never seen before. And that was all, like, George Lucas, his whole thing was about a point of view, a certain point of view. Through a certain point of view, Obi-Wan Kenobi told Luke Skywalker the truth in episode 4. Through a certain point of view, Anakin Skywalker believed that he was doing the right thing to save the galaxy by turning into Darth Vader. And now we're seeing a different point of view. And that, like, if anything, that's what George would be super proud about this show, is that they're taking this different point of view and they're saying, like, hey, here's the point of view of somebody who's not a Jedi, who now has Jedi coming to them to take their children. It's really cool. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great Gears of War E-Day conversation for sure. Anyways, that game, it was announced. Check it out. Let's just get into it, dude. We've been tickling its taint since we went live, so it's time. It is time, my friends, for the SWTS breakdown of the Acolyte Season 1, Episode 3, a.k.a. Destiny. You know, we already kind of reviewed it, right? For the most part. I mean, here's my deal. Really loving the murder mystery story. I can definitely kind of get down with those of you that think the production's a little wonky. All right? I'll go much more in depth into some of my thoughts on some of the things that popped up in this episode plot-wise, such as the Ascension ceremony, the concept of the thread, the not chosen one prophecy, and of course the Brendock fire and what might have actually happened. But in terms of just quick review, like I said, really digging the story. I've been thinking about it since last night. I've been doing a lot of talking with other fans that also enjoy this show, which to me says it was decent. It was good enough, right? The story's there, even if the production is wonky, just like my use of the English language. So, Nick, anything else to add to your overall feel for this? Or you just want to get down to it?
No, I mean, I think that, like, yeah, feel wise, I got everything out. I think that, I'm curious to see where your issues are with the production. I guess the one spot that I was like, people are not going to like this is during the Ascension ceremony, when like the people, like the crowd was, I guess, like usually during a chant or a ceremony, everybody is like doing something in unison. And this one, they just weren't doing something in unison, which I was like, I guess that looks kind of weird, but like, I didn't come up with this ceremony. This is their ceremony. Right. So why am I fucking judging their ceremony?
Yeah, let's get into it. It's not judging their ceremony. It's just judging how it was acted out. Like it
looks weird.
Yeah, you're 100%. It wasn't even. It was just like that the power of 1 and 2, and then it melted into the background music. It was just fucking goofy looking to me. All right, like, hey, they can have their traditions and ceremonies. That's really not what was off-putting. Just the execution of it to me was just like, this just seems really weird, and I don't know if it's a good weird.
It was definitely weird, for sure.
Here's the one that really makes me feel like a dick face, but again, I'm a critic. I got to be critical. The young actresses that played Osha and May were awful. I'm sorry. I'm not blaming it on them. Like I said in my review, I'm blaming it on the adults in the room, the people that wrote their lines, that directed their scenes. But holy shit, man, like, Jake Lloyd blows these two out of the water. God bless his soul.
I mean, like, I didn't have any problem with their acting. I mean, like, they're kids.
I get. Like
kids.
I said, I feel like a complete scuzzbag, man. But their dialogue heavy scenes, sometimes I'd be like, okay, can we? This is bad. Like, this is like fucking YouTube kids bad shit that I hear from my daughter sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't like off put by it, but it's also like I watched episode 1 so many times, and Jake Lloyd was fucking terrible in that. Like, it's just how kid actors are. Like, they don't always really
have to be. There are times where the kids are standouts. This is not one of them.
Yeah, there are some really good kid actors out there, but like, a majority of kid roles are like, hey, be in this sitcom and we'll give you a one-liner.
Right.
But like,
I
you
get
know,
it. And listen, Bat's not wrong. I mean, it is kind of a tradition to have some average to below average acting in Star Wars.
yeah.
It just sometimes that, man, their scenes is like, okay, you know, it's enough of YouTube kids. Let's move on. Let's get back to like not the but hey, like I said, I don't. All that stuff is superfluous to story. Like the story's there. Even if some of the scenes are a bit grating on me, it's like, all right, I'm still getting the narrative content. So
yeah, and I don't imagine that we're gonna get too much of the kids. Like too much more of the kids.
Yeah, I Nick, we're not going to get another fully dedicated flashback. We will get other hits, I believe, but I don't think you're going to get a retread of this. Or do you think they give us, well, now it's to see what happened from the Jedi's point of view?
I don't know if we'll get another, like a revisit of Brendock. I think that what we will get is the flashbacks separately, like seeing what they were doing on their own.
Well, yeah, because I mean, the trailers fucked this show so hard, but we know at some point in time, Kalnaka and Torben go at it in the Citadel, and I'm guessing they probably possess Kalnaka when the Jedi show up for whatever they were coming to do, and that's why him and Torben are fighting. Because I don't know if you're as goofy as me and you like analyze frames, but at the end when they had rescue Osha, if you notice, Kalnaka is not there. And Torben has his face wounds. So, as we're saying, more went down that night in that Citadel than May possibly dropping the lamp. Because we don't even know, Nick, we don't even know if she actually dropped the lamp herself or not.
The way that was edited, like that whole scene was edited, was done really well, because even though you feel like you know what happened, you have no idea what happened. Like you see May holding this little thing, like holding the little jar of fire, and then all you see after that is just the fire start from inside the room.
Well, here's what she actually lights Osha's journal on fire.
She lights the journal.
It cuts to in the room. Osha's like, "Mom, help me!" And moments go by, Nick. Then you hear the lantern smash, and the fire really takes off. So, was it May? I'm like, how did Saul know May started the fire? He's been spying on him the whole time. Maybe his job was to go grab the twins when the Jedis made the raid. And he saw what May was about to do or considering, and he tried to stop her, and she accidentally dropped it. Or maybe she did do it on purpose. There's
a lot. Yeah. That's what's so interesting, is that you feel like you got a lot in this episode. You feel like, oh, we finally seen it. But there's so many more layers that you haven't seen yet. There's so many things that you just don't know yet. Like, and it makes me want to watch more. Like, it does make me wish that this show was all out at one time, because then I could be like, oh man, I really want to continue, because even though this felt like a meaty episode, like it was such a big lore dump on what we were all super interested in, which was like, what happened with this Brendock fire? How did these girls get separated? Why did Osha go with the Jedi and then May didn't? Why did they both think the other one is dead? There were so many questions that led right into this episode, and they feel like they got answered, but they haven't gotten answered yet.
Nope.
And that's what I really enjoy about the show, is the layering of the storytelling. And I think that they have really nailed that. Like, is it a perfect show? No, not by any means. I think that there's obviously some stuff, like the acting for some of the members of the Witch Coven were a little off for sure. And like the biggest thing for me was like the one animated character just stood out so much, like the elder in the Witch Coven, when they who
sounded just like Maz Kanata, right?
It did sound just like Maz Kanata. It felt like she felt
there she is.
A little out of place.
I got her prune face lady.
Yeah, like I wish, like I wonder if they tried to do that practical and it just didn't show up right. So instead of so then they just went in with like CG and then tried to clean it up. But because everything around that character is practical and she's the only thing that is like digitally enhanced, it just looked weird for sure.
Here's just a random note I took. Did you notice that May and Osha aren't their real names during the Ascension ceremony? It's May Ho, and I believe it like Verosha or Variosha. Yeah. What do you think that means? Or is that just part of the Witch Coven culture?
Oh, like they're like Mayho and Verosha. Like, do they hold specific meanings? I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I don't think that they like if you Anasea, if you think of like the other character names, they don't like fit a specific pattern.
Yeah, or it could be like Matthew or Nicholas, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like it's just kind of like nicknames, you know. Both of us have nicknames that we go by. It's Joseph Ricci is asking if there are going to be spoilers. There's going to be spoilers.
Oh yeah. We're covering the Acolyte episode 3 in full. So if you haven't seen it and care about spoilers, you might want to come back tomorrow.
I mean, we're going to be deep diving into the whole episode.
Yeah, anything that happened in the episode, Joseph, if you're new here, we cover day of. So yeah, we're going to go through the full plot, give our ideas on what happened, what's going to happen next, stuff like that. Have fun.
Matt, is your review that's on YouTube spoiler free or spoiler light or?
Oh no, it's like you get everything. You get everything, people.
I would definitely recommend. So Joseph, if you are interested in listening to the episode, what I would recommend is just watching the most recent episode and then coming back to our breakdown once you're finished. The episode will be available on YouTube right after our live stream is done.
That's right. We appreciate and we speak your name. All right. Shit. Let's just kind of go through some of the top moments because I know that's going to spark some thoughts here, Nick. And it's weird. Again, because of the show, something's wonky to me. These aren't traditional top moments where it's like, damn, Nick, did you remember that scene, that action moment? You know, there's barely any action in the show, and that's okay. These are still, to me, they're, I guess, key moments would be a better term. And the one I'm going to start with, and Ben Ray's kind of coming up with in the stream here is, and Nick, I know you probably enjoyed this too, but this is something we talked about beforehand, so I know you appreciate it. But really, the first key scene to me that I felt stood out, I appreciated, was the thread training. So, you know, they were getting their force training. And really why I understood it, or why I appreciate it, is because, like Nick and I have been talking about, let's see how other people deal with this concept of the force, or they call it the thread. You know, how do they treat it? Are they like the Jedi and they only see it as black and white? You can only be good or you can only be bad. You can't use a little bit of both. It definitely sounds like these witches are down for either side. So we had a lot of prediction wins, by the way. So even if this show sucked, we'd still talk about it because right now Nick and I are fucking killing it on the predictions and speculations game. We had will there be anti-Jedi witches speculation. We had will there be unaligned force users, all sorts of stuff already coming through. We're the Jedi responsible for the fire. Thank you, channel members. The trophies may commence. We will pause until they start showing up. But no, it's hearing their explanation of the Force and the similarities of how they perceive it to what we've learned from the Jedi and even the Sith. And, you know, their concepts of the, you know, power of one, what was it, Nick? Power of one, the power of two, something like this.
Yeah, it's like the power of one versus the power of many.
Right.
You know, like how... And that's something that we've really never explored with the Force before. The Force has always been a very individual thing.
Right. Like this is kind of almost like hive force, right?
Yeah. Like especially to the Jedi, because the Jedi pick their candidates, their potential younglings and Padawans based off of their individual strength. You know, like they look at their midichlorian count. They test them for their individual strengths. And that's why something like a Force dyad, which was introduced to the sequel trilogy, may have been missed by the Jedi because they look at things in a very individual fashion. But this group sees the Force as more than just its individual aspect within one person. It seems like they have encouraged people to, you know, or encourage their coven to use the Force together. It's not an individual power. It is how we can use it together.
Like I said, it's almost a hive mind approach. I mean, we all assume it was probably the mother that put Torben under her spell, but it could have been the whole goddamn coven.
It could have.
I mean, look how easily they did it. They didn't even flinch. They didn't lift a hand. They didn't need to point. They didn't need to palm out. They're just talking, and homeboy literally loses his mind in a second. So yeah, it just like in these witches, they seem to be much more focused on the kind of the physical use of the force foo, if you will. You know, a lot of Hadouken maneuvers, as we see here from the mother. I will admit, watching the twins in this scene again, a little maddening, like that stupid ass fight that even came off acted poorly. But hey, I can get over that type of shit, Nick. No big deal. I think the other reason this scene kind of is a key moment, it shows you how different the twins are. I mean, Osha is so, I'm going to say it, she's pretty selfish when you compare her to her sisters in the Coven, who are all about being one with our sisters, where this entire episode, Osha's like, I don't want to be with May my whole life. I don't want to be a witch. I want to leave. I want to explore the galaxy. Where May is very focused in becoming a witch, and it shows. She's more powerful. She's more in tune with the thread. Yeah, I said it, the thread, not the force, because some who claim it call it the force, Nick. They claim it, right? Those Jedi, they try to claim the thread for themselves and call it the Force. But it was a good scene to really get a kind of a deep dive into how these witches perceive this Force in this galaxy, and kind of how the two little girls are literally yin and yang. I mean, Nick and I were talking about this before we went live. It opens with May torturing an animal. And then, you know, May is very hell-bent on gaining this power, becoming a witch. And then at the end, she's literally like, hey, I know how to keep you here. I'm going to kill you. Okay? These are not normal thoughts. I have some theories on, I think May was kind of juiced up by her other mother, Coral. Because remember, Coral literally had to physically remove her from Osha after Osha said, I want to be a Jedi, I couldn't lie. And Coral clearly doesn't like the Jedi, clearly is thinking differently for the kids than Anastasia was. So, and listen, I don't want to get into it yet, but Coral was involved in that night as well. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's kind of clear that, like, here's what I'll say about the two girls. I don't think that there is a right or wrong response from either of them. I think that your wanderlust and your desire for exploration, even if regardless of where you're raised, these two were raised in a coven that seems very like to themselves, and it's okay if you want to continue that tradition like May does, but it's also okay if you're Osha to be like, hey, look, I want to experience more life than what is here and what this has to offer. So I don't think that either one of them are wrong. Like, if you're a kid and you grow up in a super small town and you have a brother that wants to stay in that super small town and does not want to move anywhere else or explore anywhere else, they just want to stay there with their family and that's all that they want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you are the one who wants to go out and explore and live somewhere else and go to college out of state and go live in different countries and all this stuff, there's nothing wrong with that either. So I don't think that Osha was wrong. Like, her desire to join the Jedi because of what they represent as an opportunity for her is not wrong. And May's choice to stay at home and be a part of the Witch Coven is also not wrong.
Yeah, she just handles it a little aggressively.
Yeah, and they're 8 years old. They're 8-year-old kids. Like, they have no understanding of how to control their emotions or what's the right way to handle something when your sister doesn't agree with you. Like, we are literally dealing with children who don't have the ability to cognitively process what's happening.
Well, you know? and you could tell Mother Anastasia gets that. I mean, the whole episode, she's trying to talk to her partner, like, listen, Coral, this is how people grow. Like, Osha's going to push the boundaries. Like, just chill the fuck out. And Coral, she can never accept that. So like I said, when we get to the night of the fire, she is definitely culpable 100%. Like, I think she tweaked May up, if not knocked the damn lantern out of her hand if it wasn't Saul. So, Yeah, 1/6 she talked about kind of why she wants to be a Jedi. I don't know. Listen, we're watching different stuff. It's okay. I'm out of the chat today. The chat threw me off early, and I've struggled to recover, but I'm getting there.
1/6 shooter, Trevor, when you were 8 years old and you saw a firefighter that had an awesome hose, and you said, "Do I want to be you were like, I want to be a firefighter." Did you understand it? Did you understand anything when you were 8 years old?
Joe Sue's kind of saying the same thing here. How would OSHA know about the Jedi? Dude, the Jedi were around for thousands of years as the beacon of the galaxy. Like everyone in the galaxy knows who the Jedi are. They're like they are the superheroes of the galaxy. Yeah, of course they're going to know who they are. They're going to be in books. I mean, hell, the witches have probably been telling about the Jedi and how they could be bad because it seems like they were running away from other Force factions.
Did they see Jedi?
I mean, they have books and hollows in this universe, my friends, right?
It's like they have news, they have books, they have the HoloNet, they have so many different things, and I think that what's happening here is like for some reason you guys think that like an 8-year-old has to have every piece of information to be able to say that I want to be a Jedi. When I was 8 years old, I wanted to be an astronaut, and I had no fucking clue what that meant. They get to go to space. I want to be an astronaut. She looks at the Jedi and she says, like, the Jedi are good. I've heard that the Jedi are good. All the stories that she's heard throughout her whole life, the Jedi are good. They have an awesome lightsaber. Look, she was looking at it when they walked up, like, oh, look,
I don't know.
You see their lightsaber? You see their robes?
I don't know, man.
Taking it at face value.
I'm getting confused at everyone's confusion. It's the
like,
Jedi literally
understand.
Up until this point, they've helped to settle the damn galaxy. I mean, everyone's going to know about them. They're going to be in books. They're going to be in the news. They're going to be on the hollows.
Yeah,
and they're saying, how did OSHA get a book? It was like her journal. She was drawing the symbols. What, they don't have books in Star Wars? I don't know. I give up. up.
How did OSHA get the book though? It's like
how do the spaceships fly in space and go faster than light?
How did you get a book when you were a kid? You went to the library. You saw it in school. You found it somewhere. Your friend gave it to you.
Everything's so literal. Like if it's not right in front of your face, it didn't happen, I guess.
It's like extrapolate. Like she's an 8-year-old kid who is seeing something super cool.
Nick, even her mom's like, listen, you're 8. You want to be a Jedi now, but you don't know what you're going to want years down the road. It's okay.
Fucking, like the same thing that any parent would tell their kid. Okay. When they're 8 years old is like, oh man, you want to be a veterinarian? That's awesome. But hey, when you turn 25, who knows what you want to be?
Right. I wanted to be a jet fighter pilot, and I never saw a jet fighter pilot in person, but I saw them in movies or on the news or in magazines and stuff.
I mean, Trevor, sometimes using your imagination like you do for your toy photography is really useful.
Yeah, it is a science fiction fantasy show.
You don't have to be told everything. So it was like, it's just funny.
1/6 shooter, man. You are killing me today.
Tell me.
Yeah, look who's back. Big Amish 69. Let's focus on something like that. Good to see you, man. It's been years. Holy shit, man. I don't know what's happening in life anymore.
It's so funny. Why would she want to be a Jedi when she's 8 years old? I don't know, man, because Jedi sound pretty fucking cool when you're 8.
It looks neat. You get a laser sword and you can
get
move
an
shit
awesome
with your
laser
hands.
sword. Everybody says that they're cool and they're good and they protect the galaxy. Why wouldn't you want to be a Jedi when you're 8 years old?
Oh, well. Hey, we love all you, man. I love you. I love you, Joe Sue, 1/6 shooter. I can't. I can't get down there.
It's it's so funny to me how this little stuff that is literally based around 8-year-old little kids making decisions is really getting to people.
Man, now you're calling us names, 1/6 shooter. Well, you're a fucking dumbass. How do you like that?
You're being ridiculous. They writing is lacking.
So is your grasp of how to use English in written form. Like come on, man. You want to make it personal? I'll make it personal too.
But it's like, you cannot like it, we can like it, and we can both be right. But I just think it's funny how, like, why does she want to be a Jedi when she's 8 years old? It's always the
people are like, hey, you're telling me your opinion, but they're the ones that, like, they can't budge from their own or see that people can have other. It's fine, whatever, man.
It's so funny. Like,
Here,
Man,
let's
I
give
wish I
Mando
could be in the
mugshots
show
a
when
shot.
I was
I love
8.
seeing how another culture see the Force, just like how different cultures see. That's what I was saying, Mando mugshots. Thank you. We are way off track. The peanut gallery is taking over the show, so I'm going to move on a little bit, Nick. Okay, but seriously, you guys are great. It's fine. It's okay. Hey, maybe we're big dumb idiots, and I've been called that before because I don't necessarily love the prequels. I'm a big dumb idiot. I'm a shill. That's what it is. That's why I can accept this stuff as science fantasy fiction. Okay, we're doing top moments, right? We got through the thread training. Let's talk about the Jedi arrival again. Nothing like, oh my God, can you believe that moment? But I think it was a great scene, again, to keep building upon this feeling that not everyone in this galaxy loves the Jedi, trusts the Jedi, or even believes in what they're doing. It was kind of odd how they just kind of bust in on this ceremony, like, oh, hey, we're here. We're just checking things out. Any kids around here? Any kids? Yeah. Cal Naka's like, blah, of course they have kids. They draw the kids out. And then they start more or less preying on Osha's desires to not become a witch. And this is where we get the threat from the mother, and we see how powerful they can be if threatened. They, like we said, they literally just take over Torben in a second. And he's gone, like just out of his mind.
Yeah, I mean, like...
It showed kind of the turmoil brewing between Mother Kirill and Mother Anastasia, and how diametrically opposed they are on the concept of the Jedi, in particular, in how their two twins should kind of be dealt with the Jedi. And you got some of the Jedi arrogance there. We learned this Republic law, essentially, that hey, if the Jedi believe you could have a Force user, it's their right to ask you to test it, and if you agree and they pass, you lose your kids. So it's nice little lore dumps on the Order, but also showing us again, these factions don't trust each other. They've probably never trusted each other, and the Jedi were definitely there for a reason. Yeah. Was it just the twins, or was it to keep tabs on this coven after they found them? Yeah.
So I think that it's already interesting, the dynamic that's playing out. Like, were the Jedi being completely truthful when they got there? I don't think so. I don't think that they came to this planet thinking that it was uninhabited. I don't think that was their intention. The High Republic is a time of great expansion in the galaxy. So Jedi going out and exploring new regions of the galaxy is not unheard of at this time. But it does seem like they had an idea that there was something here, specifically Force related, and there was a draw.
Nick,
to
how
this
long
planet.
do you think they were scouting the planet? Because I don't know if you caught the conversation early on between Kirill and Anastasia, and she's like, "Hey, yeah, our scouts have noticed the Jedi have now moved inland." So it's like they've been kind of creeping on these witches, it seems like, for a minute. And Saul himself clearly was assigned to the twins because he's out in the woods staring at him from behind a tree like Chester and Molester. Yeah, I mean,
there was a clear, it seems like they had an objective. Whether the objective was found once they got here.
1 second, Nick. Sorry. Thank you, B-Mad. We love you, brother. Unfiltered Free Thinkers. That's why I'm a fan of the show. We speak your name.
There we go. And then thank you to Christoph Satchel for subscribing.
Oh, yeah. Check that out. All right, Christoph. We said something right. We appreciate you. And Joe Sue, like I said, buddy, you don't like witches. We get it now. It makes sense.
Yeah, no, yeah,
we love you though. Listen, no bad feelings.
I mean, you must have a hard time with the
Halloween
Ahsoka
must
series.
Yeah,
too,
Halloween must suck, and you probably have like Nick said, a dartboard of the great mothers.
I don't know if it's like the same thing if he doesn't like the Night Sister witches or if it's just these witches, because it's like that's what's like really interesting to me too about the witches coven. It's like, is there any sort of link between these witches and then the Night Sisters, because they're both using a version of the Force, or like some Nick,
clearly the difference is they use green smoky magic.
Yeah, and then this one is more thread-like.
Yeah, thready blue hue, magic. Translucent Force magic.
So I am interested to see though if if this faction of witches had any run-ins with the Night Sisters and their faction of witches, and were there any inspirations that were taken?
Nick, who do you think was hunting them down? Was it the Jedi? Was it the Sith? Was it both?
I mean, the thing is like, I feel like the Sith would probably be okay with these witches because they don't completely shut down the dark side. They're like, hey, the thread is the thread, and we just have to understand how to use it best. Like there's no prohibition on like, you can't do this because it's bad. Whereas the Jedi are very restrictive in how the Force is used. You can't do this. You can't do this. You shouldn't look into the future. You shouldn't, like they're very restrictive with how it should be used, where even like the Sith are a little bit more freeform with how you use it. And the Night Sisters seem like they are very open to exploring all aspects of their magic as well.
Oh yeah, man, they're resurrecting motherfuckers. They're like, they gave Savage superpowers. I mean, they reattached Maul's robotic legs in a better fashion for him.
So it's really hard to say, like, would the Jedi have run them out? I don't think so, because if it was the Jedi that ran them out, then I would have expected this meeting to be a lot more tension filled. I mean, like, it was tension filled.
I know exactly what you're saying, but what if Indara was just kind of slow walking it, like feeling it out, kind of getting the numbers, getting the lay of the inside of the Citadel, kind of like it was almost like a scout mission.
Yeah,
and then the night of the fires when they actually launch the attack, if that's actually what happens.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like I'm super interested to see, like, if they do explore more of that, like, background between whether it be the Jedi or not.
You could think it was the Jedi, if the Jedi, because remember, the Jedi don't want anyone that's not a Jedi training in the Force. So if they discover this coven and they know they have power and they could potentially dip into the dark side of it, they're going to snuff those motherfuckers out.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the Jedi directive. It's for, like, them to find Force users and bring them into the Jedi fold.
I think that's a crux of this show, though, is like, is that right? Do the Jedi have a right to this naturally occurring Force that is in every being, every part of this galaxy?
Exactly. So, like, that's what we're exploring now, is like, personally, I don't think that it's okay for the Jedi to be the arbiters of a naturally occurring phenomenon like the Force, especially if people aren't using it for harm, which it seems like the witch coven here has been using the Force for a long time for their own means and haven't been trying to take over the galaxy or cause harm to other people. We don't know that yet. But generally my thoughts are, if you are using the Force for your own good and you're helping your community and you're fostering a sense of welcoming and you're fostering a sense of community and well-being while using the Force, I don't think that the Jedi should care about that. Like, I don't think
they would. I mean, even if you remember in episode 1, Indara's like, hey, we got a unauthorized Force user here. I mean, that literally, they have like a fucking 187 code for it.
Yeah.
So it's illegal according to the Jedi. I'll say the Force is a will. Yeah, it is a will unless you're a dark side user. Then you definitely bend the will of the Force to your own needs. At least that's how I've always seen it. But
and I mean, like,
I'm a big idiot, so who cares?
When you use it, like, you're always like, you're taking the natural Force and you're willing it to do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the same way for all, like, for the Night Sister magic, for the Force, all of it. You're taking a naturally occurring thing that has no good or bad. There is no dark or light. There it is how it functions, and then you are using it for your own will.
Be mad. Zabrak are from Dathomir, right? That's where the Night Sisters started. Well, they started in Peridia. They settled on Dathomir.
And then they came in.
And if you notice, the Coven, though, isn't just all one race. I mean, there was Twi'leks in there. There was other horned alien women. There, you had the Zabrak, you had standard humanoids. So they truly are kind of like a covert, I guess. I mean, they're a coven, yes, because they're witches, but it's like anyone can join as long as you're down with what they're doing, it seems like.
Yeah. I mean, Jared Sir Dork says it right. Like, the Jedi think that they're doing the right thing because by their perception, the Jedi way is the only safe way to harness the Force. And
Yes.
so when they're going out and they're taking people's kids and they're policing other people's use of the Force, they think they're doing the right thing because they truly believe that, like, if anybody else uses the Force other than Jedi, it's bad because it's dangerous.
Yep.
But other people who have the Force and have used it for a long time with no ill will or bad repercussions have different things to say about that, because they have been like, they know that that's not true. They know that there are safe ways to practice it. And what they're worried about is the power mongering, is being told that you can't do something by somebody who doesn't even know what you're doing.
Right.
And so,
yeah. All right. Let's Mando Mugshots. Good one here. Do you think they would have taken the children even if they refused to leave their parents? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, because they
yeah.
took children. They took babies. Babies have no ability to choose.
Did anyone notice once it was confirmed or revealed to the Jedi that the twins had no father, the reaction of Saul and them? They're like, oh, fuck. Okay. You could tell they were like, yeah, that's we didn't need to hear that. Now we need to enact Plan B. I mean, Saul's reaction, watch it again if you didn't pick up on it. As soon as it's revealed that the twins they don't have a dad, a traditional father, light bulbs started popping off in the Jedi's heads. I don't know if it's because they're like, oh shit, chosen one, or oh shit, yeah, they did something really fucked up here and we need to get these kids because they could be supremely dangerous to our concept of using the Force.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Chad is live today. Matt, did you see the Padawan? He looked like he was a lot younger in the flashback.
Oh, you're talking about Tor? He's talking about.
Oh yeah.
Torben.
Well, hey,
Torben still had his.
It's another example of Jedis for some reason don't age gracefully after some bogus shit goes down. Because 16 years for Torben was rough on the man. I mean, he lost almost all his hair. We know he gets his face raked that night. We don't see it yet. We will see it. I still think it's Kalnaka. Yeah,
I am very curious. Like, I don't know too much about what was the thing that he took, the oath that he took that like put him in that trance. What was it called again?
The Barash Vow.
The Barash Vow. Like, I wonder if the Barash Vow has an effect on your physical. I mean, obviously it will have an effect on your physical appearance, it was funny and everything. So.
I was talking to Kung Fu, the old intern, last night, and he's like, yo, motherfucker doesn't off himself because some little girl started a fire. I was like, yeah, the Jedi definitely did some pretty shady shit that night for sure that they thought was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm curious your thought. Why did Jedi want the children? Well, it's like we said, the Jedi do not want Force users, especially ones that were created in a unnatural way, to be out in the wild, not being monitored by the Jedi.
Yeah. So it wasn't like the intention, I don't think, because even by their own admission in their own laws, you're not supposed to train somebody over a certain age, just like you said, Josu. So this was more of a preventative measure than we're gonna in good faith take them and train them, because obviously there's a lot of attachment still there, especially with May. Osha's attachment was much less. Mm-hmm. She was very willing to leave, and she was very interested in exploration. I think that May would have been nearly impossible to train because of her. Well, I mean, like, I don't believe the age thing just as like a personal thing, but like by Jedi law, she was dark, man. They would have saw that darkness from 10 miles away. Like very, very high attachment, very unstable, and like obviously a little too old to start training by the Jedi way. So I think it was more of a preventative measure than anything else.
Right. Be mad. It was titled Destiny, not Chosen One.
Yeah, not Chosen.
Josu, I'm gonna touch on that because I do believe there was some sabotage in the reactor room well before the room itself exploded. And you know what? We might be. Yeah, we're there anyways. We're at my next key moment here, and it's the night of the disaster, as we'll call it. Nick and I, we already kind of talked about the beginning. You got to remember, May was in a very, very poor state, very angry, so much so that Mother Coral had to physically remove her and take her on a walk. We also know that Mother Coral is no fan of what's happening right now within the Coven and the choices Mother Anastasia is making for their twins.
Yeah.
So I do think, Nick, that something was said, thoughts might have been put in May's mind to the point where she was comfortable enough showing up in her room with her sister and saying, hey, I know how to keep you here. You're going nowhere. We're not leaving because I'm going to kill you.
I'm going to kill you. Yes, exactly.
Like, what?
And this is a very important point to bring up because Matt and I talked about this before we kicked the show off. Once this scene starts, when we get into the room where May is like, I know how to stop you, and all of this disaster is seen through the perspective of Osha only.
Yeah, the whole episode was.
Yeah, like we're only seeing these things from Osha's perspective. Like Matt said, when Mother Coral or when Coral takes May off for a chat, we have no idea what they talked about. And we have no idea what was in that conversation that caused May to come back and say, I'm going to kill you. This is the only way.
I mean, you got to remember, before they even want to take the trial or the test, the entire Coven's like, you need to lie.
Yeah,
it was an organized effort.
Lie.
Like, you two need to lie. So it's not out of this world to think that Coral, after the fact, knowing that Osha didn't lie and now May's all upset and Osha may leave, she's like, listen, this is our only chance to keep her here. You need to do this. Yeah,
exactly. Like and it was very clear that Coral was like, no matter what, this isn't fucking happening. And she was determined to find a way for it not to happen. Mm-hmm. So who knows?
Agreed.
We don't know why yet May made the decision that she did. But we also
she is dark. I mean, it could truly just be her.
It could have been.
She was established as she's fucked up. Okay, she's a little fucked up for an 8-year-old.
But we don't know why yet. And that's what makes this interesting is like we're seeing these things happen, but we don't have the full story yet. There are layers to the storytelling that keep this mystery, continuing. And I really like how that.
It's like I said, just keeping on with the scene and why it was key. It is the misdirects. I mean, they clearly show May. She's crying. She's staring at the lantern. And yes, she does light Osha's journal on fire in anger. But that's all we see. Like I said, it cuts back away into the apartment. Osha's yelling for help. And it's moments, Nick. It's like beat, crash. And then the fire starts.
Yeah.
So was it May? Did she do it on purpose? Was it an accident? Was she second guessing? Did Coral tip it? Or, as I said, we heard Soul say May started the fire. How the fuck did he know? Was he there?
I mean,
was he spying on them? Was he being sent to retrieve them as the Jedi were making their raid on the Citadel?
Yeah,
Did Nick, I could see him going, May, stop, with the Force, and him pushing the fucking lantern out of her hand.
Yeah, it's like the fact that he very confidently said that May started the fire, and we have and that's the thing is like they're intentionally not revealing things to us for a reason.
Yeah, dude,
like,
he just shows up too. He's like, May, Osha, I'm here. I'm here somehow. I knew something was going to happen.
Yeah, like they were supposed to be gone. They were supposed to be at
their camp waiting for the next day to have Osha delivered.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he's there instantly. He's there pretty quick.
Like I said, and again, I really do think Disney and Lucasfilm fucked this show with the trailers, but there are clips of the Jedi getting on their speeders, rushing towards something. We know now what that's going to be. There are clips of the Jedi fighting in the Citadel, possibly each other. We know now how that's going to happen. Cal Naka's probably going to get mind fucked, or vice versa, Torben again. That's all coming, people. Don't worry. But it was very suspicious of Saul that he's like, yep, May did it, and the fact that he was right there as Osha needed him, and everything was falling down. Yes, literally.
Yeah, as it started to happen. Not after the chaos had been finished. He was supposed to be at his camp, and this motherfucker was there soon enough to save Osha while the chaos was ensuing.
Exactly.
Questionable.
He was. I mean, we know he was assigned to spy on them directly. So he seemed to have a passion for them almost, right, Nick? He's like,
yeah.
Hey, where's your sister? Oh, look, something changed. She has a tattoo now. Like he knows everything about these two for some reason.
That wasn't there before.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
They've been studying these twins for a long time.
Yeah. So what
will
draws
be
them
revealed.
there?
It will be revealed.
I mean,
if not, then I will join the chorus of you people. Be like, yeah, this show fucking sucks. Don't worry. If this shit does not pan out, I will be tooting that horn. But I'm gonna wait because this is a type of plot that you really can't, in my opinion, make final judgment until all is revealed.
It's a slow burn plot, right? I mean, we're only fucking 3 episodes in. We're talking the slow burn. Like, there's only 2 episodes left. There's more than half of this season left.
Anyways, back to the fire and some other suspicion things. And I think this might touch on what Joe Sue was saying with early sabotage. But did you notice, Nick, how this small fire, and yes, I understand it got into the electrical panel, but literally within like 2 seconds, it's nuking their entire reactor room?
Yeah, the entire facility goes up in flame.
So
from
yeah, like literally, they're trying to say that a small fire essentially took down a concrete citadel that seemed to be as tall as a skyscraper here in the real world. You know what I mean? So, but here, I don't know if you noticed this. I think it was during the thread training moment, kind of as things settled down, there was like a noise and Coral goes investigate it and she's looking into the reactor room. So it does seem like some sabotage might be going down. Was it the Jedi? Is it something else? Is it another witch? I don't know. But if you rewatch the episode, they foreshadow the reactor room going boom, boom when Coral senses a disturbance, if you will. So yeah. I'm guessing that's what Josu's saying with the sabotage nod.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like Coral is definitely shady.
Oh yeah,
you know.
I mean, Nick, here's the pile of bodies. Did you see a Zabrak?
No. Yeah. Nope. I mean,
they sure shit showed Mother Anastasia though.
Yeah, they did.
They made that clear.
And look, I'll say this too, and we said it before. Around those pile of bodies, there wasn't a shitload of fire.
No.
There was not a lot of smoke. There wasn't a lot of fire.
And so I don't know. Well, you know, things were caving in. I don't see any fucking rocks on top of these bodies.
Yeah, there's no rocks on top of them. Nothing. It was a pile of dead bodies that seemed to have dropped dead with not a lot of fire or smoke or debris falling on them.
I mean, I guess we could try to zoom in to see if you see some, you know, burn slashes. But
yeah, I don't see anything indicative of smoke inhalation or fire death.
No. Yeah. So Coral, trust me, she had a hand in this just as much as the Jedi did, just as much as May did, and possibly even a real dark side user. I mean, we can't fully discount that. You know, the Sith apprentice, Kamir, whoever it is, might be involved in this to try and get his acolyte early on as a child,
or another Sith acolyte. You know, the show is called The Acolyte.
Right.
Could Coral have been a dark side acolyte?
There you go.
You know, there's a lot of possibilities, and that's why I'm really intrigued by this show and the storytelling that's been done so far. Is because when something is revealed, it doesn't mean that the mystery with that ends. Like, there's more intrigue, there's more mystery, like underneath the surface layer, and that's what keeps me interested.
Agreed. And I think you would agree with me, though, in a narrative like that, Nick, if it doesn't pay off, then it can kind of sink the whole series, right?
It can really suck. It can really suck if, like, these threads aren't, like, explored enough, or it can really suck if, like, you feel like threads came to a dead end and there wasn't a lot of resolution. But it's so early in the show that I don't know if that's going to happen yet. So, like I can't say.
Well, no. This is literally. I mean, the way Leslie told it will be the finale. We're not going to get everything until episode 8, but she did promise those that you know make it to the end, the narrative of this season will be resolved.
Yeah, so
with possibility for future seasons, but that may be done now. So we'll see.
I mean, we'll see. It like if the viewership stays up, regardless of it's hate watching or like watching or whatever watching, all the people who make the show sees it are the numbers of people watching.
Right.
So, if you're hate watching
any
the
press
show,
is good press in the end, right?
Yeah. And here's the thing: if you're hate watching the show, hoping that you hate watching it is going to make them not make a next season, I'll tell you this:
that's the wrong
you're
way.
You're a number.
Point. Yeah, it's the wrong way to make your point.
You're a +1 to the viewer count. So if you don't want them to make another season, stop watching it.
The best thing those of you that hate Disney Star Wars can do is cancel Disney Plus.
Yeah, I was going to say cancel your
subscription. That will hurt them more than your angry social media posts.
Just do that. Like they see the dollars and the viewers. So if you don't like it, stop watching.
People forget that corporations aren't people. They serve one thing. And that is the bottom line. That is the stock price. So
it's the bottom line. So
that is the stock price.
Yeah.
Hey, a few other oddities I noticed about this fire incident. So now, Nick, we're at the point where they're gone. OSHA's on the Jedi ship. Like I said, if you were paying attention, you can see back there, Torben has had his face raked. Okay, so we missed all that. That's why you should know that there's a lot more to kind of figure out that happened that night. But did anyone else kind of just go, wow, Saul is super suspicious? I mean, what Jedi do you know, Nick, would tell a little girl, there's no hope for you back there?
Yeah.
We can't go back. There's nothing for you. Are you kidding me? What Jedi is so defeated that they're like, nope, I already know there's no reason to go back. Fuck it. I mean, it's pretty much like, hey, we're not going back there because you might find out what actually happened, and May probably is still alive, and we can't have you two together.
Yeah. I have never seen a Jedi so quick to be like, let's get the fuck out of here and not try to help anybody else.
I know, like, Jedi are there to help those who need it, whether they're good people or not. And he's just like, I can tell you with absolution something Jedi don't believe in, but I can absolutely tell you there's no reason to go back.
There's no reason. Dude, we have seen Jedi across every trilogy try to save Darkseid, like fucking Sith, Dark Force users, everything. Like, what was Rey doing the entire time in the sequel trilogy? Trying to save Kylo Ren, who was openly a Darkseid Force user. I mean, Luke Skywalker, the whole time after he finds out that Darth Vader is his father, nonstop trying to get him to come back to the good side, trying to redeem him. Even Obi-Wan Kenobi in the prequel trilogy, when Anakin turns, he's like, this is not you. Why are you doing this? And it takes him to the last moment to be like, look, I have the high ground. Don't do this. I don't want to do this to you. And Anakin forced his hand. But this Jedi, when there are people in distress in an entire community that is being ravaged by whatever disaster has happened here on Brendok, he's like, let's get the fuck out of here as fast as possible.
Yeah, because we might have had a hand in that shit, and you can't find out.
Very weird.
Let's kind of theory craft. If that is the case, and OSHA does find out, maybe that's what tips her to the dark side. Because I've been kind of thinking this could be a show where the twins flip in the end. You know, where OSHA realizes the Jedi fucked her all along, and she's like, "Oh, you cocksuckers!"
I see. Like,
May was actually getting revenge in my honor, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, it could be.
These people did me dirty, so who knows? But I was just like, man, when have you ever heard? I don't know if he was a master at this point in time, but a knight or above say, nope. No hope, lady. You can have zero hope in Brendok. That shit's done. Yeah. Cut it out of your soul.
It's over for you.
Yeah, it's like
not even trying to console her either. Nope. Like, just
you'll be safer with us. Over. You'll be safer on Coruscant. Hey, if you want, you can be my Padawan.
Yeah. One other thing to call out too about the ship: Kalnaka nowhere to be seen.
Gone. Yeah.
Gone. Kalnaka is not on that ship.
I do believe. Alive. That's Nick. That's why I believe he's the one that gets brainwashed on the Brendok Fire Night. And after he realizes that he used his claws, which I don't know the exact Wookiee lore, but it's bad. Like, Wookiees aren't supposed to attack with their claws. I don't know. It's just against their religion, and they will self-exile. So yeah, he was probably like, or he was still out of his mind and they couldn't bring him with it. But either way, I believe Kalnaka is going to be the one that gets possessed. That's why Torben gets face raked. That's why Kalnaka's gone, not with the Jedi. He's pretty much exiled from this point on until we're going to see him probably next week.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Lots of good stuff, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm telling, like it's.
We're not even into some of the eggs and references, and one of them we are going to spend a little time on. So I'm going to go ahead and move there. Real quick, I just realized also in my full review and breakdown, I completely forgot two of the references because I got looped into the Chosen One prophecy stuff. But I'll start with those here. You guys get a little treat. But we got the old midichlorian sample test, right? Remember old Qui-Gon poking Anakin?
Focusing
Osha.
on the individual force strength.
That's right.
I think they did that on purpose. Like they did that on purpose.
What, to show us?
To show, because like the whole thing with the witches is like one is stronger.
Oh, yeah.
Many is stronger than one.
Now, see,
but then when the Jedi come up,
I'm not that dumb, Nick. I got you now.
Yeah. Like when the Jedi came up, what did they do? They individually test their blood. They individually test them for their force abilities.
Remember, no connections, no ties in the Jedi Order. You can't be beholden to anything but the Force. Nick, we also got, just like Anakin had to do with Dickhead Mace Windu, Soul holding that little data pad to do the matching game or the guessing game, if you will.
I like that.
And one of the items was a Loth Cat. So it was like a bing, bang, boom there. And the other one I forgot to mention in my full breakdown. But when Osha finally tells her mom, like, this is what I want to do, it reminded me when she says, "I'll never see you again." Kind of like Anakin, like, "Will I ever see you again?" So we had those. The low-hanging fruit, clearly, Mother Coril, who in my review, for some reason, I kept calling Cordil because I'm a dumb piece of shit. Zabrak, Maul, we get that. The girls were in love with spice creams. As I said in my full breakdown, I hope just like in our world, when you cook spice, the effects bake off. Otherwise, those girls are already crackheads, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Right? They love spice creams, Nick, and If it's not like here where you can put booze in addition, you cook out the alcohol, then they already have an early drug addiction. But the big one I want to spend a few seconds on, just to clarify it for people that might have got a little confused, is the whole immaculate conception thing between Anastasia and Cordil. So before I get there, if you will allow me, just to kind of keep making points that Cordil is nuts. If you remember, Nick, when they learned that the Jedi are there and they want to test the kids, I mean, Coral has an audience. She's like, "Tonight's the night. Let's attack!" And she has supporters. They're like, "Yeah!" So I mean, there could be a case where the Jedi are just showing up for fun, and then the witches fucking attack them anyways, and then it's like, well, we got to defend ourselves too. But to the Chosen One prophecy, that is not the Chosen One prophecy. Because I got a text early this morning from the friend last week that, he's in the faction of some of these people.
He's still watching the show?
No.
Man,
he sent me a tweet from some idiot that, again, can't process Star Wars. He's like, "Well, now I know I don't have to watch it. They just ruined Anakin's legacy and the Chosen One." I'm like, oh God,
that is not what happened.
You people are so brain dead. Like, just I can tell when you don't watch something, or if you watch something, you lack critical thought. This is literally what is said, just to clarify for everyone, okay? Yes, I 100%. It is a reference to the Chosen One, the dyad, if you will. I mean, hell, even Mother Anastasia says the thread tied you together before you were born. So I get all that. But this is not the Chosen One prophecy. This does not infringe upon your homeboy Anakin Skywalker. They did something really fucked up. Like some dark magic science to get this done. And here was the conversation. Corel says, "I carried them." Anastasia says, "I created them." All right, right there,
it's not the Chosen One prophecy.
All right,
boom.
Reminder: the Chosen One prophecy. The Chosen One would be born of the Force and the Force alone, not created by an individual. Corel goes on to say, to add even more kind of fuel to this, "And what happens if the Jedi discover how you created them?" So yeah, they were not conceived by the Force itself. Was the Force involved? I'm sure it was in some capacity. But she did some very unnatural more than likely dark side shit to get this done, possibly with the help of a Sith.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the Chosen One prophecy is still intact for those of you who are super tied to that as a part of your everyday life and belief. So don't worry about it. Still there.
Yeah, Chlorocat Meowth. We kind of spotted that last week that Kalnaka definitely gave Torben his new look, 100%.
His scar for sure.
He didn't need that eye anyways, and let's be real, he was kind of goofy looking. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of.
Does everyone know that's King Tommen from Game of Thrones?
From Game of Thrones. This dude comes into a show
loves
as
suicide
a kid
roles,
and then kills himself.
Yeah, he loves
in every show.
His agent's like, no, listen, if you got a role where the dude's gonna fucking off himself, we got your guy. We got him, man. He's good at this shit.
Blonde dude right here. He jumped off of a castle in one. How do you want him to die in this one? Poison.
Willingly,
himself.
yes.
Got it.
Yeah, a lot of some of the comments from the people that, you know, they like the woke term and stuff. They're like, yeah, white man guilt, got him. I'm just like, you people are so fucking weird, man. It's so weird. Like, my brain doesn't even go to that place. But hey, I guess I'm a big idiot, right?
Yes, I also don't harbor a ton of guilt. Like,
oh, some other weird shit. Right here, I got the screen up. How about Kalnaka shaving the top of his head so his ponytail stands out? Look at that.
Hey, man, you gotta. I mean, it's a look.
Yeah, he's trying to give himself male pattern baldness for some reason.
Almost like a mohawk of sorts.
Yeah, but then
it's kind of weird.
He's got like all this other. He's like, oh, I'm just gonna shave the top of my head and let the rest of my hair grow out into a mullet, sort of.
Yeah.
But I guess that their whole body's hair. But it also looks like he's got like tattoos or markings in the shave spot too. So interesting stuff there. Do you think Kalnaka and Osha were starting to bond a little bit?
I don't know. I mean, like, Wookiees typically do find like bonds pretty quickly. I wonder if he bonded over.
It's like before she went in for the test, they kind of, I don't know if she understood what he was saying, but he's like, and then when she comes out, she's standing there and he looks at her and it's like he knows that she ended up passing the test almost. Like, yeah, hey, I know you're different than the other one type of thing.
Yeah. So, I think that they may have grown together over time.
Well,
it will be interesting.
Well, probably
to
not
see.
because he doesn't make it back with them.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like this is it.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. He's already in exile by the time she even makes it to Coruscant. So
yeah, because we saw. I mean, on Kofor at the end of episode 2, his ship has been there so long it's become a part of the landscape.
Yeah, it's like grown over and completely.
He probably has literally been there 16 years or maybe 15 years and 9 months, but he's been there a long time. Okay, I think we got through all that type of stuff. I do have a few Hans left. He's from the Alabama part of Kashyyyk. Good one, Chlorocat. Yeah. I like you. If you're new here, please stick around. You're fun. I like that one.
Well done.
Oh my God. High and tight coming in from Johnny. I like it. Nice. Okay. You people are great in the end. It was, listen, I know things got a little weird early. We still love all you, even though I think some of the people we're yelling at or they're tired of our positivity and they left. So it's all good.
Yeah. I mean, look, we always enjoy debating story and stuff like that. We're not going to debate people's opinions. If you're going to come in here and say that y'all are stupid for liking it or we're ridiculous for liking it, it's like, okay. If that's the type of discourse that you want to have, we're just not going to participate in it with you. Well,
I'll try my best. I need Nick's help with that because I am an idiot. I fall for the bait all the time, but I'm getting better. All right, man, some Haas we got there. The first one here is it's more just reminding everyone how good we are. I know the fans like this type of stuff, and I think I've already done it, but I'm going to say it again. Nailed the Chosen One stuff, okay? Remember, I put out a video or speculation in our preseason show, like, hey, will we get any sort of nod to the Chosen One prophecy? Check! Witches being against the Jedi? Check! Unaligned Force users? Check! Nick's video from last week, will the Jedi be involved in the Brendok fire? Check and check and check and check! All right? There's not enough trophies in the world to send to us right now, but so far, doing great there. You guys know it's me. I'm a narcissist. I like to toot our horns. Witches called them deranged monks. You gotta like that a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Corel definitely does not like the Jedi. We are headed back to Brendok in the present timeline, my friends, and here's how I know. If you go back to the trailers, you'll notice that there is a space battle taking place in what seems to be like a ring of a celestial body, if you will. Nick, if you look at the screen I have up right now on the live stream, again, if you want to join the live stream, don't forget 5 p. East Wednesdays are as close as we can get it, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. And I don't know if you've noticed, but Brendok has dueling moons, and one of them definitely has ice rings around it.
Yeah, you could see that for sure.
So it does appear that I believe in the present time we will be heading back to Brendok. I also know, based on trailers, we're also going to get flashes of the past from different points of view as well. But I just wanted to point that out. I picked that up on the planets. We're going back, okay? There's something that whatever's happening in the present timeline, they're going to need to return to Brendok, or they're chasing someone who is going there as well, because it does look kind of like a dogfight.
Yeah. It wouldn't, I mean, that would be a very standard thing is all right, we're eventually going to make our way back to the scene of the crime, whatever, scene of the issue.
Osha couldn't lie, May could easily. We've established that. I mean, it's very clear that they are as yin and yang as it gets. One definitely leaned way dark. One was more on the light and doing the right thing and not lying. So, all right. I read the quote on the Chosen One stuff. We got that. I think that covers it all. Bring up the fact, the weird. We talked about that. Okay. I think we nailed it, dude. So let's set up episode 4. We did dedicate a whole episode to this flashback, Nick. So naturally, it sounds like we should kind of get back to what we were talking about next week. Is next week the KO4 stop?
Yeah, I think next week is the KO4 stop where we're finally going to get some Kalnaka information. And I think that's going to be a big point of revelation because we know what May's mission is. We know that May's mission is to take out the 4 Jedi that were a part of the Brendok incident that we've now seen from Osha's point of view. So Sol, she already went at, couldn't take him out. Already got Indara, already got Torben. Kalnaka is the only one left. And what I'm really interested in seeing with Kalnaka is what led to it. We were talking about that before. What led to his exile and him attacking Torben? Was it Coral? Did Coral and her, the people that she was, that were on her side for attacking the Jedi decide to break off and then go attack? And that's what caused, they took control of Kalnaka, and that's what caused the scar on Torben's face. Or, what else could have happened? Did Coral do a solo mission where after her walk with May, she went back out to the Jedi camp by herself? A lot of things.
I think you're on to something, because if we do focus on KO4, they probably are going to have to give us hits of Kalnaka flashback, right? To kind of like, as Trevor wants, justify why he's there.
Yeah, I mean,
why he's exiled.
I think that this would be a good time to do it, explore that, because if we're going to, finally have a in real time meeting point with Kalnaka and get information out of him, because clearly they're going there to not only warn him hey, there's somebody that's hunting you down that we need to protect you from, but we're also going to get his side of the story of why he's exiled. Right. I would imagine.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. It just, the reason I say KO4 is because Kamir literally is hey, we know Kalnaka is there. I mean, I know he's there. Again, another suspicious thing. How's this basic ass traitor know where all these random Jedi have been hidden? It's oh yeah, the Wookiee's on KO4. Let's go there. So yeah, I think we get back to kind of what we thought this week would be, with a splash, a bit more. Could you see, Nick, from here on out, all the way through the finale, we get new points of view splashes of the tragedy?
I think we could for sure. I think it is possible that we get different points of view of it happening. Like it wouldn't surprise me if later on in the show we got Soul's point of view.
Right.
Like we got to see how he got there so early or why he was there so early.
Yeah, B-Man, we were talking about this earlier. It's assumed that the mother is doing it, but because they believe in kind of this Force hive mind, you could argue they all were kind of sharing the thought together, like, okay, let's do this now. And that's how it was so easily done. And Chlorocat, we kind of spit the same thing. I think Darth BDSM wanted the children for himself, showed up and suddenly threw it. Sure. I 100% think there's some dark side shit happening either through Coral or another outside party.
And here's the thing. In something that we've seen happen in Star Wars in old EU books and in other media around Star Wars, when Sith were more prominent, and there was a very strong Force user in the galaxy that was unaligned, like either a newborn or somebody who had become strong in the Force, both sides converge on it. Like, it's not like, oh, only the Jedi can feel it or only the Sith can feel it. Both sides converge, and that happened to Darth Bane. Like, in Darth Bane's story, early on, there were Jedi and Sith that could sense his strength in the Force. And this could be what happened here as well. That, like, you had the Jedi that were drawn to this source of power on Brendok, but also a Sith was also drawn to this source of power on Brendok. Like,
well, Nick, you're on. Dick. Hey, Dick. You're on to something though, because if we go with this theory that the witches believe in kind of pulling their power together, would that not send out a bigger signal?
Yeah, I mean, like you have more of a
reverberations through the Force.
Reverberation. That's a good word. Yeah, reverberation in the Force that both sides would sense.
Got you.
And especially the way that they're training the girls to not be afraid of what would be perceived as the dark of the Force and stuff like that.
I mean, I think in the end we will find out that there's at least 3 parties involved. And by parties, I mean people that think differently on the Force.
Yeah,
I think you're going to have a dark side representation, obviously the Jedi representation, and then the unaligned Coven representation.
Yeah. So, I think that is highly likely.
Okay. Well, you know what, buddy? I think it is time to go ahead and transition ourselves over to the fan segment. If you're new here, we do a fan segment every week. I love this by Ben. I know he's being sarcastic, but it's spot on. Star Wars is dead, but we will keep making rage vids on it year in and year out to make ad rev from it because we totally ain't vultures pecking on its corpse. Admitted no rage bait channel. That's right.
Yeah.
that really is that's Star Wars theory. I mean, that's his game. But hey, I definitely baited my thumbnail today, and I don't give a shit. Screw it. I could care less. It was a complete bait. I do talk about the Chosen One prophecy, but it's only a small part of the video. Anyways, fan segment, ways to get involved. Typically these days, if you're a YouTube subscriber, I try to post the question of the week there. I hit IG, I hit our Discord, sometimes even Twitter. You just got to find it, follow us, and respond, and maybe we'll throw it in there. This week we had a lot of responses, and Nick's probably going to punch me in the face. We'll try to get through most of them, but if you interact, we try to speak your name, we try to read your thoughts, and hopefully we won't make fun of them or make you feel bad about yourself in the end. And then after that, we will do our top 5. As you can see here, I'm already spoiling an image like an asshole. Star Wars featured artist of the week that young Nick picks on Monday night, as he has either a fine cigar or a glass of whiskey. All right, buddy, let's go ahead and get into that question of the week. I know there's a million of them. We'll try our best to hit them.
We'll speed read. We'll see how it does. But anyway, question of the week, as always, during a live Star Wars show is, how are your feelings about The Acolyte Episode 3? Let us know.
I was going to say, Nick, did I type that? No, I did not. I said, how are you feeling about it? So
how are you feeling?
I did use proper grammar, thank you.
I misread that.
This is Mando Mugshots, by the way.
Yeah. Mando Mugshots says, not seen it yet, but unexpectedly loved the double premiere last week, which I've now watched 3 times. So Mando Mugshots is in here now, so I assume that he has caught up, or he has caught up with the show.
I kind of like this, Nick, because I remember Mando was one of the fans like, hey, I hope this isn't jamming ideologies down our face, like that type of take before it came out. So the fact that it seems like they've kind of come around and they're giving it a chance till it's over, I can kind of dig that and appreciate it.
Yeah, so good stuff there from Mando Mugshots. Next up is, oh man, that's a hard one. Half a die rebels, I think is what it is. Half a die rebels.
Half a day rebels.
Yeah. LMAO, the Jedi's true mission was to probably eliminate all the witches, and seeing the twins probably complicated things. All in all, the episodes could be longer. So I feel like we're getting longer than we thought. I mean, this one clocked at 44, so about 40 minutes. That's pretty much traditional TV with commercials. Yeah, it's true. But so Half a Die Rebels wanting some more longer episodes.
Hey, all right.
Corellian Smuggler says, great episode. I like that we got to flesh out the relationship between May and Osha and the Coven. There's still more to the tragedy I feel we aren't seeing. The Jedi 100% killed the witches.
Maybe.
Or at the very least, Indara and Torben did. Wow. Okay. Putting it on just two of them.
All right.
Why else would Torben have felt as guilty as he did?
100%, man.
I mean, that's the biggest thing is that Torben felt so guilty, he took the Barash vow.
And Nick, instead of admitting his crimes to the council, because I rewatched 1 and 2 with the wife, so it's a little more cemented in my head. May literally says, like, listen, dude, you either go admit your crimes to the council, or I will release you of your pain right now. So
this dude did something so bad that he not only did he take a vow of silence and everything. He also, when given the option, killed himself. Yeah,
it was like, "Thank you, May. I know I owe you this. See ya."
Which, like, I can't wait to find out, dude.
Yeah, man,
I can't wait
that'd
to
be
find
fucked
out.
up if they really do just run in sabers ablaze and they're like, "We know we're right." Wow.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Die. You sickos creating babies.
Oh man. Good stuff. So, all right. So that was from Corellian Smuggler. Next up, League of Extraordinary Sixthers. She says, coming from the LGBTQIA+, I am tired of the gays can't be happy trope, so they must die. However, I do think there is more to this story than meets the eye, so I'll wait for all episodes to air before cementing my opinion on the trope. That's a very healthy mindset, League. I appreciate you having that mindset. They go on to say, it is obvious this episode was told from a certain point of view. Considering this is new story and lore from the Star Wars universe, I am exciting to see what the creators did for this murder mystery. So League with a very healthy viewpoint on waiting or holding judgment until they've seen all of the episodes.
And listen, you're healthy too if you hate it. Just don't tell people that like it that they're ridiculous and stupid for liking it. Okay, there's two different things.
Yeah. It's Chlorocat Meow, thank you for the subscription
All
to
right.
the channel.
We earned their favor.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate. Here we go. Let's pop that
Got
shit
them
up.
in the end. There you go.
I do like Chlorocat. I'm liking this one.
Yeah. So good stuff there from League. So thank you very much, League, for your comments as always. Next up, 2797 Studios. That is Mr. Bat in our chat. He says, first, I enjoyed it. My biggest complaint is some of the acting, but that's kind of come to be expected in all this. Witch Island and Threads of the Force are fine with me. Creating life through non-traditional methods, sure, it's no different than any other space opera or sci-fi fantasy. I mean, we just watched Dune 2, and that whole thing was bringing about the what was it? The Lisan al-Gaib in a non-traditional way. A giant ape and nuclear lizard fighting are acceptable, but some space witches creating life through space magic is too much. Come on, folks.
He's right.
Let's put this in perspective. People are getting tantrum level upset over a TV show. Fans are threatening other fans over opinions. Star Wars isn't broken, the fandom is. People are broken. If you don't like this show, don't watch it. If you have issues with space witches and wizards using magic to do crazy shit, then maybe this fandom isn't for you anymore. Point is, like what you like, do what you do you. but don't shit on other people's plates. Your opinion isn't that important, and you don't matter that much.
I want to print that out on a t-shirt.
Just putting it down. Putting it down. I mean...
And you don't, yeah, he's right. You don't matter. All right.
Everybody's got their own opinions. But you know what? You should never yell at anybody about their own opinion. Will of the Force says, I'm invested and interested, ready to learn more. There are still 5 episodes left, and I'll draw my conclusions after I know the full story. So far, I'm enjoying the show, though.
All right, Will.
Good stuff from Will of the Force. And again, thank you for the donation earlier
I'm telling you,
in the show.
in all seriousness, and I'm changing here. I've gotten a little softer on this. I used to not share any other Star Wars creators because I'm a jealous piece of shit. I am a fan of Will of the Force now. The dude's got some charisma. I like his attitude, and it's not just because he has agreeable opinions. He seems to be a swell gentleman. Yeah,
he seems like a very well-adjusted human being. Yeah. Johnny Osage Av says, "Hello SWTS. The episode was a great flashback." The episode was a great flashback, building off the last 2 episodes, providing context. Not sure what people are upset about. Oh, Lesbian Island and Wonder Woman is okay. Oh, wizards taking kids to train in their ways. Did we forget about Harry Potter, or Harold P, as Johnny calls him? Come on, kids. It's a fucking show. It's meant to entertain. If you don't likey, don't watchy. And then Johnny responds to Calro Debro and says, yep, as a 52-year-old that grew up on Star Wars, I'm just happy we are still getting content. Yeah, I mean, think about that.
Johnny's the best.
Johnny never fucking...
If you don't
never
like
disappointing.
Don't watch it.
Never disappointing, Johnny. Tales from Tashi Station says, slow episode. I feel we are missing a key bit of information. I felt like it dragged a bit. They aren't telling us everything. That's certain.
Yeah.
You're right about that. They are not telling us everything, and we are definitely missing key points.
I like this though. Nick, I think we're almost starting to be accepted into like the Beyond the Dune Sea YouTube social network, because I think Tales from Tashi Station is in leagues with them and Will and the other one, Star Wars Sith and Mortis FM. It's almost like they're accepting us now.
they're bringing us into the fold. Well, that's really nice. I appreciate
these guys aren't as fucking crazy and stupid as we thought.
Yeah. Lady Elaine 24, very special person in our community.
Mommy dearest.
Lady Elaine says, I like that now we understand how Osha and May are so different. They are each similar to their two mothers. Mother Anastasia is powerful but has an understanding side, and Mother Coral is very strong and militant. Lady. I think it was good to have an episode that developed their backstory as well as the Jedi involvement, which appears to be innocent, but how did all those witches really die? Did they die? After all, they are witches. Hey. So are they even dead?
Look at my mom fucking tearing it up. Not gonna lie, that's not a bad comment there, buddy.
Some good speculation.
Look at this shit
from Lady Elaine.
You always gotta love the different perspectives that I mean, my mom's she's in her 70s. She's an older white woman. It's she went right to the mothers.
Yeah,
it is neat to kind of see what people are drawn to.
And it is like she calls out the two mothers, Mother Anastasia and Mother Coral, and
she nailed kids it, man. Like
she definitely.
Apparently, my mom knows how to watch Star Wars. Good for her.
Yeah, I mean, your mom
that's encouraging.
Killing it.
I get it from somewhere, people.
There it is. Calro Debro says, reminded me of elements of Path of Deception from the High Republic.
He must be able to read.
Yeah, he must be able to read. And honestly, dude, like I may pick up the High Republic
because
novels
of the
again
show, right?
Because of the show.
There you go.
I mean, like
that's a win.
It's interesting me. It's interested me to the point of like wanting to get further context
to see how they could produce a Jedi like Yord, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm super interested. So good stuff there from Calro
shit.
Debro. We got even more, and we got more than just the more.
Yeah, I know. Wait, hold on, people. We got to take a break to get through these.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. EKU Rory says, the show is great. Costumes and makeup in this episode were cool. Enjoyed the flashback episode completely. I think Darth Malgus' grandpa or great-grandpa was the twins' father. Just kidding, but maybe. So he's speculating that there may be an actual father.
No, he's dumb.
I know. He says kidding, but
Nah,
maybe.
he doesn't know how to watch Star Wars. I'm just kidding.
Question: do any Wookiees ever learn English?
No.
Seems other species learn it in the Star Wars universe. Need Nick and Matt to investigate this
No,
further.
I'm pretty sure they're like, fuck you. We only speak Shriok.
Yeah, so I am not aware of a Wookiee that knows.
I'm not
basic,
kidding. Like,
that knows basic.
I believe, and maybe it's on Wikipedia, but I believe the way their vocal cords are, they can literally only make that shit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like how their vocal cords are formed. They can't. It's like a dog's. You know, like they can't speak. Like a dog can't speak, but they can understand. And they can vocalize in their own way.
He was kind of like the pet, and I hate saying that about Chewbacca, but I mean, come on. I mean, he's called a walking carpet and furball this. But yeah, there you go, Smid. I can almost take that to the bank. I don't even think the Wookiee species has the capability to speak basic or whatever they call it in Star Wars.
Yeah. So yeah, I just don't think that they can like form those sounds.
Where's the fucking Jar Jar angle though? Right?
Yeah,
this guy's always
the first comment that does not have Jar Jar.
Well, that goes to show you he's really into the show too. I guess
he's growing. Yeah, he's growing as a fan. Next up, Mando Pirates says definitely wasn't expecting a flashback the whole episode. Gave me questions. What are the Jedi doing on Brendak? Dyad? Who genocided the mothers? Lots of good questions. Lots of good questions, Mando Pirate. Next up, AJG232 says the weakest so far technically, specifically dialogue and acting for me, but remains very thematically strong in terms of character and motivation, of characters' motivations and world building. Feels weirdly George Lucas, still enjoying the show.
I'm right there with AJG. It definitely feels like Lucas prequel Star Wars.
Star Wars props chopping in. Thank you, Justin, for showing up.
Yo, Justin, get us out there. What's the next event? Skeleton Crew, come on. I know you're going to be involved. Let's go. Let's get the dates on the calendar.
Yeah. Next up, Admiral Snapbar. I like that name.
Great Lego photographer, by the way.
Awesome stuff. Good. I do feel this episode was drawn out a bit too long. The first two episodes already did a good job of alluding to Ocean May's backstory, and more could have been served as smaller flashbacks throughout the rest of the show if necessary. Seemed to slow down any momentum the first two episodes built up. So there's a little bit of division. Okay. Some of them wanted this episode longer. Some of them thought it was a little too long.
Hey, it's the beauty of opinion and different people.
There we go. Hunting Fett says, unfortunately, it is a major train wreck for the Star Wars franchise. I don't have anything to say about that. And it doesn't seem like he gave any real context to his opinion, so I don't know how to expound upon it.
I called it. Here's SW Props. I actually just signed one of the skeleton leads.
Boom.
Okay, let's
He's
go.
Just got it.
Seriously, I'm not. If I can get it on a calendar, I can probably make it happen. I'm not going to be able to just like the day of be able to fly 4 hours
to California. Yeah. Next up, we got some stuff here. It looks like this was from our YouTube comments.
That's right. The YouTubers here.
And
this is it, I promise.
Yeah, this is it. This is the end of the question.
But hey, look, if you're new here, look how much time and dedication we give to you all to get your own points of view out. Isn't that nice?
Yeah. Sir Dork 730 says, I'm honestly really liking it. The way they are slowly unraveling what actually happened while still keeping me wondering about the Sith character is really cool. I'm very compelled. I did, however, think the chanting scene sounded a little goofy. That was the one for me as well, where I was like, this looks a little weird.
The power of one, the power of two, the power of one, the power of two. That's literally what it's like. Go rewatch it.
Pinpoint Red says, loving it. The vibes and the tone are so damn good. Can't wait for the next episode.
Is that the McDonald's loving it, by the way?
Loving it. Yeah.
I'm loving it. Didn't they used to spell it that way when that was like their tagline, or am I crazy?
I think they might have.
All right. Bad tangent,
but I'm not 100%
Bad
sure.
tangent, Matt. Go back. Ignore
Beast
me.
Mobile 96. Beast Mobile 96.
That's B-Mad, mofo.
There we go. That's his. So that's what his whole tag is. Beast Mobile 96. We only ever see him as B-Mad in the chat because he's got it.
I think B-Mad is literally Beast Mobile Auto Detailing, possibly. Yeah. I believe he owns a shop or someone does. So
B-Mad says, I liked it. Felt too quick. So B-Mad thinks it was too quick. And I feel like there's still more they haven't showed. I'm really hoping the plot twist or bomb drop is worth the build-up.
Yeah, it's going to be everything. I'm telling you, people, if it does not drop or doesn't explode and hit well, this whole series could be toileted.
Yeah, we'll see. But I love the build-up too. I'm really enjoying the build-up. Perfected Chaos 79 says, didn't get how these so-called witches couldn't handle a simple fire drill. They all just fell over and died. Come on now.
I reminded them that there's more than meets the eye.
There's more than meets the eye, like the Transformers. So that's it. That's the end of the question of the week. We had a bunch of responses this week for everybody who hates this show and saying that Star Wars is dead and that this show is killing Star Wars. We've never seen more interaction in our chat or on our posts. So I don't know what that says about anything, but it's good for us.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's a terrible thing, but divisive Star Wars drives engagement.
It does.
It's sadly more so to the channels that feed into the negativity versus people like us that try to keep it somewhat. The language is never above the board.
Like we'll curse and stuff like that, but we try not to shit on anybody for their opinions, and we don't accept people coming into our chat and shitting on people for their opinions. If you have legitimate gripes with it, like Josu has laid out his comments very eloquently, and we have shared discourse. But if you're going to come in and just say like this show sucks and you guys suck for liking it, then we just aren't going to deal with that. So, all right, man. But that's it. That's the end of the question of the week. So we're going to move into our Star Wars fan artist features of the week. So if you want to get involved with that, you know how to do that. Follow us on Instagram at StarWarsTime.show and tag us, tag at StarWarsTime.show and all of your Star Wars Instagram posts. And that is how you get on my radar for the top 5. So to kick off the top 5 for this week, we have Off the Shelf Pictures. And I believe that this is a first-time top 5er. First-time top 5er Off the Shelf Pictures.
Yes, I believe they just started hitting us too.
There we go. And hey, man, they're doing some good work here. Like this shot here is a nice cozy camping scene.
2 dudes, just two dudes.
Just 2 dudes having to camp out. So we got Din Djarin and then Din Grogu, both laying on a nice little hammock that was strung up by, I would assume that it was strung up by Din Djarin, the Mandalorian himself, with little Grogu sitting in a pouch on his lap. Fire going off in the foreground, and then Mando has finally been able to take off his weaponry and just lean him against the tree. Just a nice, relaxing vacay for Papa and son.
Fully practical too. Even the little campfire. It's just, that's crazy. I love it. I'm glad Off the Shelf found us. I think they found us by way of Nilla Gorilla, a top 5er I know Nick has featured before.
Yes.
So 100%. We always love that. But yeah, it's a fantastic shot. This is one of those, as a fan, you'd like to have in your man cave, woman cave, they cave, whatever cave you want. And speaking of, did I tell you Kill Cutter's print showed up? I got him.
You didn't. Yeah,
I got him. I just need to get frames for him. So
awesome.
We are going to have some Kill Cutter art here in Star Wars Time HQ. Stuff.
I mean, we love. I mean, we always, that's our thing. We love on our toy photographers. But man,
Chlorocat. Oh, that's a fire. Thought it was a rooster. I knew I liked this person. All nice. Right. Yeah, that's Off the Shelf Pictures, all one word, on Instagram. Give him a check.
Next up, we have at Drew Originals.
Oh, shit,
and at Drew Originals gives us an awesome side cut, no pun intended, of one of the best scenes in episode 2 when Anakin makes his way to the Tusken Raider village and then just genocides them, kills them all, and saves his mother from their clutches. But what we see here is some of the action that we didn't actually see in the movie. So Anakin standing with his back to a bunch of Tusken Raiders that he had just cut down, lightsaber ignited. The effects on the Tuskens and on the lightsaber really awesome. And I know this is not what the Tatooine skyline looks like, but I love the background that he chose to use in this image. I think it's really awesome.
Yeah, Drew Original's been doing some cool like perspective in your face type of shots like this, where it's not a typical framing of these figures, but it works. I love it. Anakin there, and it's like, guys, like he did a backslash and took out 3 in 1, chopped one guy in half, hit the other guy in half, and then took the head off the last one. Just a great little action scene. That's the Anakin I would have liked to see more of in the prequels.
For sure. So at Drew Originals, giving us the Anakin that we want to see. Next up, at Mandalorian _35. This is a pretty simple shot, but I just love how good it looks like in the frame. So we just see an X-Wing flying low over treetop canopy, a nice little like mountainous area in the background, and a cloudy day with the sun peeking through. I just think that the job that they did to get the X-Wing in frame looks so awesome. It almost looks like when the X-Wing takes off on Yavin 4 in the OT, like coming out of the temple. I
mean, honestly, dude, sometimes I love when people kind of write a story to their shots in their comments, and I love reading this shit. Oh man, what the hell did I do? Hold on. Time out. I just closed the damn tab like an idiot.
Oh no. But people got to see.
Nope, never mind. I just switched browsers. There it is. Here we go. So Mandalorian 34. There's a little story to this shot, Nick. Let me read it out here. This is Luke Skywalker. Let's set it down on that ridge over there, R2. Weep boop boop. Yeah, I saw that shuttle too. It's not Imperial though. Beep boop boop. From the Clone Wars, run scanners and see if you can pick anything up. Weet weet boop. Love it. Nice. Like, I just fucking love it that this person made R2-D2 dialogue.
Yeah.
Fucking love it, dude.
Built a whole scene. Good stuff. Good stuff there from at Mandalorian _35 on Instagram. Make sure to follow. Make sure to follow all of these artists on Instagram if you're not already. Next
is another funny one.
We got Clone Trooper _mugshots. Clone Trooper mugshots. I always love when you see the B1 battle droids just like doing weird B1 stuff that they like started to do in Clone Wars TV show and stuff like that. But it's like, it's these two guys, these two B1s just sitting on a brick wall. There's clearly an explosion that's gone off behind them. You could see the bokeh and the smoke, but these two droids are just sitting down having a chat. Yeah, I mean, just so funny to see B1s in their natural habitat of being absolutely clueless on the battlefield.
They really are, and we know they have these personalities too. I mean, George gave them that all the way back in the Phantom Menace, like with the Roger, and wait, well, let me check. No, you're Jedi, you're under arrest, like all that shit. And then they just he kept playing that up throughout the Clone Wars. And I don't know how deep some of you get into the animated stuff, but if you watch the Freemaker Adventures, the Lego Freemaker Adventures, they end up they kind of have a battle droid companion named Roger, and he gets into all the hijinks here. But yeah, great stuff seeing battle droids just chilling, showing their personality. Clone Trooper _mugshots.
Good stuff. And then the final one is a clicker. We got to click it to open it.
Oh yeah, I pre-did it, Nick.
There we go. Pre-clicked. So this time we have at Brian's _toy chest on Instagram, and they're just giving us a super clean mall shot, hood up, and I mean really made this shot for me because we've seen similar ones like this of Maul, but it's getting that natural sunlight in. It's the atmospheric effects that they use in the background, and it's just like the positioning of Maul's head, moving the eyes that way. It's just a really, really clean shot of this.
It's like an annoyed Maul, right? Like Sheev just gave him a directive. He's like, "You asshole."
Yeah.
Now, listen, man. Brian's Toy Chest. They just recently showed up a few months ago, and I want to be more like them. Like, this is the type of photography I want to get into. Just the hot toys, up close and personal. For some reason, I still don't feel like I can capture the portrait shots like this. Mine always still feel a bit pulled out. I just need to start sharing them again so you all can see that I actually am trying to do this again. But awesome stuff here from Brian's _toy chest. Their full profile is up there now on the stream. If you want to check them out, give them a follow on that IG.
There you go. So that is it. That's the end of the top 5 for this week, and that is the end of our show for this week. It was a fun one. There's a lot of divisive opinions out there about the show, but hey, guess what?
It started wild, man, but it was entertaining, you know?
It gets people out there and it gets them interacting. And honestly, like, hey, we love the interaction. We just want to keep it respectful. That's all we want to do in the chat is keep it respectful. We're not trying to shit on anybody for their opinions, and we don't want anybody shitting on anybody in our chat for theirs either. So as long as the discourse is respectful, if you don't like it, that's fine. If you like it, that's fine. We're all just here to talk about Star Wars. And that's it. So, hey.
Breaking non-Star Wars news. I guess it broke a little bit ago. I don't know how much people follow competitive eating. There was a major news story yesterday that Chestnuts has been banned from the Nathan's hot dog eating contest because
I did see that.
He is a sponsor of Impossible Meat. Today, though, it has been announced that him and Kobayashi are going to have a special throwdown, chow down event September 2nd.
Wow.
So you're still going to get to see the Chestnut stuff his face some point before Labor Day.
Nice. Well, there you go. That's it to close out the Star Wars Time show. Matt, go ahead and bring us home.
You got it, buddy. Again, those of you that are here early on, apologies. Things got a little sideways for a second when one fan couldn't quite figure out what we were saying. But it doesn't surprise me because I don't think a lot of these fans that make themselves overly loud on social media really even care what they're saying as long as they get reactions and they just hear what they want to hear. It's the whole echo chamber thing that some of these angry types get mixed up in it. And no, the angry person is not Trevor. I'm talking about the other one. Yeah. Trevor was funny today, and hopefully he's all right. And
we'll have to. Send him some DMs.
Yeah, we'll see if he's still gonna. If we ever do whatever the shit show we used to do, our Star Wars D&D, we'll see if he'll come back. But anyways, man, we try to do this every Wednesday. Actually, we do it every Wednesday outside of a few weeks a year when we're traveling. So if you like this, hey, give us a sub. If you want to consider being a channel member, you can do all that down below. Click on those buttons and all that fun stuff. It's cheap as, I think, $1.99 a month or something like that. We'd love to have you, though. Most of the discussion was fun today. I love when the stream is kind of bumping like that. Yeah, I mean, we might not have a bunch of people watching at once, but we definitely have a constant stream of feedback coming from our fans. So don't forget the live streams, 5 p East, or as close as we can get Wednesdays, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. But in between shows, you can always check us out over on StarWarsTime.net. We're not as posty as we used to. We're older men. We're kind of lazy now, but you never know. You might get a video up there throughout the week. I'm constantly sharing shorts. Nick's back into the shorts game. He shared a few this week that pissed people off just like I did. So keep your eyes out there. I mean, Nick's cranking on him. This is kind of how it's going to flow throughout the Acolyte. I'm going to do my personal review. You're going to get that Wednesday morning at some point in time. I'm then going to take that, chop it up in the short so people actually watch the content because they don't watch the long version. While Nick is going to try and use our AI partner, Opus, to find some quick hit clips from our conversation about that week's Acolyte. So stay tuned on IG, TikTok, YouTube. That's where the shorts go out. And as always, just interact. Even if you don't like it, tell us. Hey, as we learned today and through some of the shorts from our first round of Acolyte content, divisiveness drives the algorithm, as sad as that is, but it is true. So interact. Like, comment, share, redistribute, remix, do what you got to do. StarWarsTime.net. Tell a friend. Easiest place to go. You can hit all the podcast links. That's right. This show also goes to most podcast platforms that people would listen to. And if a platform is on there that you listen to, it's probably not the right platform anyways. StarWarsTime.net. Don't forget it. Hit the podcast, hit the YouTube, do all that stuff. Sub, like, share, comment. We love you. There's always time for Star Wars Time. And don't forget, if you listen to the Star Wars Time show, the Force will be with you always.